And we're back. Long time no see. Bullseye, how's it going, man? We're gonna get started in 15 minutes. I'm just live a little early. Just fooling around, catching up with you guys and stuff. Yeah, but we're gonna start reading in 15. Okay, this looks pretty good. Username, how's it going, man? Dope. How are you guys doing this fine morning or afternoon or whatever time it is for you guys? This one needs to be greater than 3. That one needs to be... Wait, those two are the... That's correct, you little... Where you guys are fucking pedantic. Fine, whatever. It's the same thing. What? 346? Are you an MCU fan? Yes, I kind of. I've always been more of a DC person, but I followed the MCU decent bit. I'm not gonna lie, after Endgame, I haven't been following super closely. And the most thing I've kept up with was the Loki series. That being said, what I have heard about John Walker has been that the man is fucking goated. So, like, we first get to see, you know, how Sam and Bucky and fuck's sake, is it what the fuck is the new Captain America's name? The Falcon, I can't remember his fucking name. We're treating him so dog shit because he was kind of a prick. And then they eventually, and then especially Bucky eventually comes around to him because they get to see his struggles and stuff. And so from my understanding, he is really good. I haven't seen the new, is it the Thunderbolts? Is it? I think it's the Thunderbolts, right? I haven't seen it yet. I do intend to. I've heard good things. Everything I've heard about John Walker has been based as fuck. It's like the guy deserves to be the new Captain America. Wait, hold on. So that's 10. That's fine. This needs to be greater than... He wasn't even a prick. He was just a guy who they didn't give a chance to prove himself. Yeah, that could be. All I saw was fuck. I'll see if I can try to find the meme. Fuck. Okay, whatever. I can't remember it, but it was like Sam and oh, for fuck's sakes, Sam and Bucky would not trust John because he was kind of a prick to them, and on the other hand, they would trust this genocidal maniac who kind of eventually said, "Okay, I kind of made a slight mistake." Fuck, I can't remember that character's name, but I think you know what I'm talking about. And it was like, that shit was fucking hilarious to me. Which by his military career already did, but he did try his best. Well, exactly, right? It's understanding, like, hey, Steve Rogers, even Sam himself says this, like, hey, no one can be Steve. Partially because, hey, Steve had a super soldier serum that just doesn't exist anymore, okay? So he got something that like no one else had. But secondly, because Steve, even in his heart, was like a special sort of person that no one can replicate. Dude, I fucking hate this game so much. Fuck off. That no one could replicate. And instead of, you know, giving someone some grace, like, hey, this person's really trying and stuff. So let's give him some grace. They're like, no, oh, he's not immediately perfect. Fuck this guy. I was like, hold on. So 1, 1, so 6, 1. We can do. I'll put this one up here for the moment. Oh, for fuck's sakes, are you kidding me? Not equal? That's... Nightwalker, how's it going, man? That should do greater than 4, 3. Shit. Let's get this up here. I survived the night without sleep. Based. Justin, how's it going, man? No, all good. I appreciate you popping by. Today and then all of tomorrow, we are finishing volume 2. That being said, I should sleep's overrated. Yeah, that being said, I should fuck's sakes, I should post like a short or something to let people know I'm finishing volume 2 tomorrow. Oh, fuck, I'm so tired. It's 11 o'clock. You know what? Fuck it. I will post the videos later. I don't fucking care. I will post them tomorrow. That's okay. So I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 3 based. Now hurry up and finish stream so I can enjoy death without commitment. Dude, Bullseye, I should do more shorts. Yeah, I don't even have a rebuttal to that. I should do more shorts. I just fucking don't. That's not good. How do I get... 6, 1. Bro, it has not been 34 minutes. For what, Devil? What are you asking me here? Yeah, I will. I need to find like ideally what I want to do is just clip up parts of videos and streams and then put those as shorts for the most part, but that requires me to actually put effort into that. Yeah. All right, we're gonna get started in 6 minutes. If bro, I'm not finished with clipping on easy. Romero, how's it going? PC exploded, so it's on hold. No, that's my plan. I want to take like bits from streams and videos that I think are really good. You said out of context somebody was crashing out when I. Oh. and then post those as shorts. Same thing with videos, but I just. Fuck. That doesn't work, right? 3 and then greater 6, 3 and then greater than 6. Oh, for fuck's sake. I hate... God damn it. Where does the New York Times come up with these games? Why are they so dog shit? Okay, I will put out a short before I go to bed, I guess. I don't know. Fuck. No, I'm gonna pass out as soon as I finish stream. Fuck that, I'm lying. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I will. I'll just post the. I'm gonna play Wordle and Connections plus New York plus Word. Yeah, I normally only used to play Wordle and Connections, and then I saw. I think Pips is that new one. God, it fucking sucks. What in the where the fuck would this be? Let's start with the UK. It's always my telling point. Then I play Global Time Guesser. Nice. What's your opinion on the Diddler? Wait, what? Are you asking what my opinion on... I'm sorry. Who are you asking? Oh, you are... Okay, you are talking about Conquest. Conquest is a fucking sociopath. I don't know where that whole... From what I understand in the comics, there wasn't that whole I am so lonely sort of thing. It was literally just, hey, everyone is afraid of me because I'm out of my fucking mind and I kill for pleasure. I was like, okay. So I don't know where that whole I'm so lonely I don't think that's in the comics came in from, but he is the, not including Mark because that would be end of series, he is the second strongest Viltrumite. Dr. Z, thanks for popping by. How you doing? I thought you were super busy. What's that? We're talking about Conquest from Invincible, Nightwalker. Still pissed off about solo leveling winning awards. Get fucked. Sung Jinu reigns supreme, motherfucker. I'm on the way. Have yet to arrive. Okay, sounds good. South Africa, slightly above set. Dude, African geography, I'm dog shit. Okay, I can't. I don't know. I can't do. T-Bait, shut the fuck up, Justin. And I thought you will start in around 2 hours from now. No, that would be 1 a.m. for me, Dr. Z. I have to go to sleep sometime. I mean, these guys don't, but they're lunatics, so, you know. Freeran, Freeran was from last year, Nightwalker, no? And Freeran didn't did. Wait, Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 won last year? What? It's like a border since it continued through the years. It can't. Oh, cool. Freerun and Apothecary. I haven't seen Apothecary Diaries season 2. I really enjoyed season 1 though. I do eventually intend to watch season 2. My life has just been a fucking nightmare the last little bit, so don't make me remember the end. Okay. Let's get started. Okay. Nope, that's not the right one. Good lord. Chapter 450. All right, we're gonna be live for at this rate 3 hours from now. Assuming we keep regular pace. Only anime I've seen for the past 3 years is T-Bait. That is a crime, Justin. That is a fucking crime. First of all, I recommend everyone to watch Solo Leveling. Great piece of fiction. Might I introduce you? That joking aside, there's Apothecary Diaries from last year was really good. I can't attest to season 2, but I've heard it's also good. Freeran was also amazing. I'm trying to think of what else I've seen in the last 2 years. I feel like those two generally took the cake along with Solo Leveling generally. Fuck off, god damn it. All right, let's get that started. Let me just make sure I have my notes pulled up in case there's any more lore drops. I have a small feeling there might be some lore. No. Oh, you need to watch our AOT and Vinland Saga. Gigik and Solo Leveling, he died inside. Wait, does Gigik not like Solo Leveling? Don't tell me he's a purist. I kid, of course. I don't really care. I liked Free Red. I watched it with the original. Though I did not use. Only thing I want to watch right now is Orb because it looks peak. Orb looks peak. To Be Hero X is also really, really good. Other than that, for this season, I was really looking forward to Lazarus. My god, that has been a fucking disappointment. Okay, sorry. That's enough wasted time. With the help of a bestowment ritual, Klein handed £2,500 in cash and the gold mask provided by the Hanged Man to Miss Justice, and he used the image of the world to urge her to close the deal as soon as possible. I've spent almost £5,000 in the past 2 weeks. Hold on. Sorry, let me watch the video, Romero.
Which, of course, brings us to anime of the...
Hold on. I'm gonna watch like the first 30 seconds and then we're done, okay? I have to get through these chapters fast or I will pass out, okay?
Yeah, which I was not surprised about because... In case you had forgotten, this is an identical award to the award that I presented. It is the exact same nominations as Best New Series. So if Solo Leveling did not win this, there must have been something really, really dodgy going on. I would raise more eyebrows if Solo Leveling didn't win this one. Of course, Solo Leveling needed to win this one at this point because I'd already presented this award. Let's be honest. Like I said, no anger. I feel nothing. I knew this was going to happen. Which kind of brings me to, I guess, my overall...
Okay. Yeah, he does not seem very happy about it. Okay, oof. All that being said, the truth of the matter is, for the 2 seasons that Solo Leveling has been airing, or was airing, it was the face of anime. You can say like, oh no, it's it's the truth. Okay, it's just the truth. No one was on Crunchyroll to watch anything fucking else. I sure wasn't. Hate it. You don't like it. Whatever. I get it. No problem. All right. It's not best writing award. Okay, calm down. Okay, that's it. The Chinese century will save us all. Shut up. No. God, you anti-American, anti-Western piece of shit devil. God, the Westerners will hang you for this. Except One Piece. Except One Piece, I guess, yeah. One Piece hardly even fucking counts. One Piece doesn't even have characters, damn it. Dr. Z, I'm not doing this, okay? I am not doing this. Okay, we've had this conversation too many times. I've spent almost £5,000 in the past 2 weeks. If I didn't leave Tingen, this amount of money is enough for me to maintain a lifestyle like my landlady's family. A doll ruins one's life. Consuming potions bankrupts you for 3 generations. I don't know what the fuck that reference is. Klein looked at the vast fog in the ancient palace, which had returned to silence. He was a little upset, as though he had lost something important. He was quiet for a few seconds before returning to the real world. He picked up the remaining £830 on his desk and counted out 6 £5 notes. Then Klein put £30 of cash in his now deflated wallet and stuffed it solemnly into the inside pocket of his clothes. One Piece is like background noise. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count. One Piece is amazing. I haven't seen the recent episodes, but like I get clips of them occasionally. They're fucking based. I gotta really watch Luffy beating Kizaru's ass. But like it doesn't count, you know. How long has it been airing for? Like 30 something years at this point? What the fuck? He divided the other 800 pounds into 2 stacks, placing 1 stack in each of his side pockets. After that, Klein opened the drawer and took out 2 of the 5 deep-sea naga hair strands that he had bought back in the real world. He wrapped them in layers after layers of paper and carefully put them into his pocket. I'm so confused. Why did he buy more deep-sea naga hair? Didn't he just buy it from the Hanged Man? I'm so fucking confused. When he was done, he took his hat and cane and he headed for the street corner under the glow of the street lamps at night. He got on a carriage and headed for the Braveheart Bar in the Backland Bridge area. In the heated and noisy environment, Klein insisted on finishing his glass of Southville beer before he slowly made his way out of the bar and into a rental carriage through the thundering cheers for the boxers. Would you rather have any devil fruit or all forms of hockey? Any devil fruit. I don't know which one I would pick. Law's Ope Ope no Mi definitely comes to mind. But I don't know which one off the top of my head I would probably... The first one that comes to mind is the Ope Ope no Mi. Devil fruits would be so much better just in day-to-day life because they provide so much more value other than combat. Like, I don't fight that much in real life, bro. I've gotten it... I can count on one hand with fingers to spare in the number of fights I've gotten in life. Think of Garp and... Bro, I am not big... I'm not Garp or Rogers or Shank. Or Shanks, okay? I don't know what you thought this was. Okay. In a heated and noisy environment, Klein insisted on finishing... Okay, I already read that. Taking in the rumbling of the wheels, he intentionally closed his eyes. Suddenly, he heard the sound of the window being lightly tapped. Aw, she remembered. Aw, she's so sweet, my sweetheart. Klein's facial muscles twitched slightly as he opened his eyes and looked in front of him. He saw the pale and exquisite Miss Sharon. Without waiting for her to question him, Klein smiled and said, I sold the information you gave me last time for a good price. The one about the Amon family tomb. Sharon looked at him silently. Leaning his cane to the side, Klein took out 2 stacks of cash and a small clump of paper from his pocket. 800 pounds plus 2 strands of deep-sea naga hair for a total of 1,000 pounds. That's what you deserve. Klein took a silent breath and smiled as he handed over the cash and paper clump. Sharon glanced at him, reached out her hands to take both items. She lowered her head and looked at the items in her hand and asked, how much did you sell it for? 2,000 pounds, so we split it evenly. If the hive mind only gave me 1,500 according to the original plan, then I would have to first owe you a portion of it, he thought gladly. Alright, I'm gonna head up. Alright, sounds good, username. Thanks for popping by, buddy. If you could conquer the world and make it in your image. I'm not that guy, bro. I'm not... Miss Bodyguard with Klein, Dr. Z. If I'm shipping her with anyone, it's Klein. Ideally myself, but if not, Klein will do. With a flip of Sharon's bloodless hand, the cash and paper clump disappeared without a trace. She raised her head and tersely acknowledged before succinctly asking, what's in the tomb? I don't know. I didn't go. Klein didn't disclose the help he had received from the magic mirror. For an instant, he felt as if he felt that if he described the experiences in detail, Miss Sharon would have listened intently with one hand on her cheek as she had done before. Oh. This wraith lady seems to have a hobby of watching situational scenes and dramas or listening to all kinds of rumors. Sharon's expression didn't change. She said, someone is digging a tunnel to the underground ruin. Huh? However, he soon understood which underground ruin Sharon was referring to. There's only one underground ruin the two of them knew of, and that was from the 4th Epoch Tudor Dynasty ruin. Someone is digging their way into the underground structure? Is it that baronet? He had already forgotten the name of the hidden Tudor Dynasty descendant. Castle? Fuck, I know this. The Pond family, I think. Pound. No, the Pound family. Ah, fuck, I got there. Other than knowing that he had an aristocratic title of a baronet, that he lived on Civilis Street, where the Backland police station was located. Thank you, Dr. Z. Sharon sat up straight and replied seriously, I don't know if he knows or not. How much longer will he take to dig through? Another 2 or 3 months. For the time being, he's doing it on his own. Then there's no need to rush. When I'm ready, we can go visit him together. At this point, he explained with a smile, As you know, I like to make sufficient preparations. I won't get involved in anything until I advance to faceless, he warned himself inwardly. Alright, Sharon didn't ask what he was gonna do, but her figure faded rather quickly and she disappeared from the carriage. Klein leaned back against the wall, feeling relaxed. The ingredients for the faceless potion have been reserved, and I'm just waiting for delivery. My debts have all been paid off, so there's nothing to worry about. The only problem is only 30 pounds in cash, 5 gold coins and some change. My god, he is so poor now. Fuck. Every time the fourth epoch is mentioned, bro just knows he has to cop. Ramiro, that's not even a fucking joke, dude. They mention fourth epoch, I'm like, okay, let me open up Word. God fucking damn it. On that note, let me open up Word. God fucking damn. Alright, if you were in One Piece, then which one would you choose? Oh, if I was in the One Piece world? Still a devil fruit of my choice. Not because it's stronger, a bullseye, but because I have no intention of going to the Grand Line, okay? Especially not to the fucking New World. So I just plan to live where I plan to live, which means I just want a really strong devil fruit, like a Logia type or something, and then just live in my corner of the East Blue. Like, I don't want to be bothered by anyone, and I don't want anyone to bother me. With a strong devil fruit, I can just make a good life for myself without having to worry, okay? Unless some motherfucker with some crazy hockey comes in, I'm chilling. So, get fucked. I choose the fruit of NL. Yeah, exactly. NL's fruit is based as fuck. NL's fruit, I would still probably go with the Ope no Mi. But, I mean, there's probably a couple that I'm missing, you know? It's been a while since Kizaru's fruit definitely comes to mind. That shit is hard as fuck. Okay, hold on. God. Thursday afternoon, Audrey was waiting in the study for the arrival of Miss Escalante. Don't dodge the what question? Would you rather date Amon and he gets pregnant, or would you rather date Miss Bodyguard but you get pregnant? I'm gonna need more details, Devil, that I don't feel comfortable asking on stream, but I will message you on Discord later, and then I can give you an answer. Okay? I have questions. After receiving the Hanged Man and the World's reply, she had immediately sent a servant to send a letter to Escalante. The contents of the letter were very ordinary. Audrey hoped that the second psychology class this week would have been brought forward to Thursday. In reality, Audrey had already made an arrangement with Escalante. Once she expressed such an intention, it would mean that the other party had to agree to the conditions. Or had agreed to the conditions. The wall clock on the wall moved briskly, and Escalante, with her waist-reaching long hair, entered the room with several teaching materials in hand. Audrey immediately gave Susie a look. The big golden retriever somewhat reluctantly leapt out, laid down in the nearby shadows, and observed the people coming and going. Amon is actually the best option, no cap. Again, it depends on a question I have. Escalante closed the study door, looked around slowly, then sat at the small white round table and put down the teaching materials. Are they paying for it in cash or with some kind of mystical item? One directly gave 2,500 pounds and the other a mystical item. Audrey flippantly took out a white cardboard box from her medium-sized orange handbag, the outside of which was covered with a wall of spirituality. She revealed a simple golden mask, then she recounted the flaws and effects. To be honest, she was very curious when she received the item. She had wished to test its effects since it was her first time coming into contact with a mystical item. However, she finally resisted her urges as she didn't wish to turn cold. Never missing an opportunity to spread Imperial. Lurkin, how's it going, man? I would want powers to dominate something that creates the Holy Brazilian Empire. Okay. Okay. Alright, the Portuguese may have left, but there's a lot of Portuguese blood in this man, clearly. It's basically the same value. Escalante tried and breathed a sigh of relief. After 2 seconds, she pulled out the thickest notebook and flipped to page 48. The middle part of the textbook had been hollowed out. There was an iron box about the size of a palm and a rolled up piece of parchment. Human skin shadow characteristic. Wind-blessed potion formula. Escalante showed her and introduced them to her. Audrey's gaze cast towards the characteristic which resembled a diamond. The face inside left her head spinning. This has the ability to restrain a spectator's power. Is this the sequence pathway of Mr. World? No wonder. Audrey looked and studied the formula. Sequence 6, Wind Blessed. Main ingredients, 6 crystalline feathers of a blue shadow falcon, a pair of dragon-eyed sea condor eyes. What in the fuck does that even mean? Before Audrey could examine the supplementary ingredients, Escalante rolled up the parchment in time. After that, she set up a wall of spirituality around the metal box again. Audrey held the book, but she didn't hand over the gold mask and the 2,500 pounds in a timely manner. Seeing a look of puzzlement in Escalante's eyes, the prepared Audrey smiled and said the other party is worried that the characteristic doesn't match and that the formula is fake. They hope to verify it first. And before the verification, the items and money will be held under my custody. All of them believe in my trustworthiness, and I don't wish to lose reputation. I understand their concerns. We trust you too. Since the money and items were in the hands of one of their own members, she wasn't worried about being cheated. Besides, Miss Audrey is rich and powerful. She can be trusted as a guarantor. In the ancient palace above the fog, Klein held a spirit pendulum in his hand, divining the authenticity of the wind-blessed potion formula. He didn't wish to inadvertently lose the most experienced and powerful member of the Tarot Club, the Hanged Man. When he opened his eyes, he saw the topaz spinning clockwise. Klein heaved a sigh of relief and sent his thoughts to the crimson star that symbolized the Hanged Man. By the way, Miss Bodyguard is the goat for real. Thank you, Lurkin! Let's go! City of Generosity. Alder first saw the endless grey fog before hearing Mr. Fool's low but distant voice. Miss Justice has completed the deal. An illusory piece of parchment appeared in front of Alder. On it was the wind-blessed potion formula. With the potion going through Mr. Fool, he had no qualms about the authenticity. He bowed his head respectfully and thanked him. When the illusion dissipated, he immediately found a pen and paper to jot down the formula. Then he paced back and forth, muttering to himself, "Blue Shadow Falcon, that primitive island has it." 60% Portuguese, but my motherland is Mexico and my home is Mexico. After finishing the matter regarding the Hanged Man, Klein finally had the time to check his human skin. Fuck's sakes. His human-skinned shadow characteristic. After confirming its authenticity, he relaxed and leaned back in his chair, exhaling happily. After 3 seconds, Klein suddenly sat up and he decided there was no time to lose. Tonight, he would concoct the faceless potion. Let's go! You know what, DSV? For the moment, you can have the powers. It seems like Ramiro and Nightwalker are having a rough go. 15 Minsk Street, in the dank, cold kitchen. Klein rummaged for his newly bought large iron pot, poured fresh water into it, and carefully scrubbed it several times. Then he dropped some matches into it and snapped his fingers. The scarlet flames soared, and under his control, they quickly burned the remaining water droplets dry without harming the surface of the pot. This time, there were no ingredients such as pure water in the potion recipe. Reduce their pay. I don't pay them, Justin. I would have to start charging them. I would have to pay them negative dollars. This time, there were no ingredients such as pure water in the potion recipe, so Klein was even more careful than the previous 2 times. He wanted to ensure that everything was in good measure to prevent any problems. Like, to me, that even that sentence is like somehow is indicative of how much stronger Klein is getting, right? If I turn this up here. This time there were no ingredients such as pure water. Pure water is dilution. It's to dilute the strength of a potion, right? Or any kind of formula. But the fact that that's not present anymore means like, hey, there's no more dilution anymore. It's you are getting up in the upper ranks now, so you're gonna get some strong shit, you know? Although he was able to divine whether the concoction would be successful or not, at least to not endanger his life, such a result could still involve his potion being ineffective. Attempting to extract the Beyonder characteristic from the concoction would be relatively difficult, just like the removal of mental corruption of a rampager. He would need the corresponding technique, method, or rituals, and Klein wasn't able to gather a second round of ingredients within a short period of time either. After finishing his preparation, Klein took a deep breath as he looked at the neatly arranged boxes. Finally, he recalled the potion recipe. Faceless. Main ingredients: mutated pituitary of a 1,000-faced hunter, characteristic of a human-skinned shadow. Supplementary ingredients: 80 milliliters of 1,000-faced hunter blood, 5 milliliters of black Jimson weed juice, 10 grams of dragon tooth grass powder, 3 strands of hair from a deep sea naga. He picked up the cardboard box, which came from Vampire Emlyn White. He picked up the box and took out the glass bottle that contained 100 milliliters of 1,000-faced hunter's blood. Glancing at the scale, Klein unscrewed the lid and steadily poured the sticky liquid into the pot with his stable wrists. The liquid changed its color depending on the variation of the light. Wait, should I take what Audrey said seriously, or just offshoot that as like a offhanded comment when she said this pathway is like the opposite of or is to counter spectators? Is that like actually like a seer is the counter to a spectator, or was that just like I can never read Mr. World, so like it's just got so you know this makes sense. Like, I don't know if it was an offhanded comment that she didn't really think, or like actually the seer is the opposite to the spectator. Just offhand comment, pretty sure. Okay, thank you. The 1,000-faced hunter's blood was like thin honey that slowly filled the bottom of the pot. When Klein felt that it was about time, he stopped tilting it and allowed the liquid to flow back. Audrey doesn't have enough experience to make comments like that. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I didn't put it in my comments, but then I was like, let me just ask. There's still about 20 milliliters left. My spiritual intuition is quite accurate. Klein withdrew his gaze from the glass bottle and tightened the lid. This 20 milliliters of 1,000-faced hunter's blood could still be used to make some mystical items. Weapons, scrolls, or for drawing symbols or labels. It was still very precious. After putting the glass bottle back into the cotton-filled box, Klein went down the list and added the black Jimson weed juice and the dragon tooth grass powder. He saw that the liquid in the iron pot started to bubble. Jesus. Without pausing, he picked up the 3 strands of dark blue hair that resembled tiny snakes with his black-gloved right hand, and he firmly placed them on the surface of the liquid. A faint mist rose from the iron pot, and the color of the liquid turned a deep blue. It already has a strange effect even without adding the main ingredient, as expected of a sequence 6 potion. Clown is pretty good at countering them. Yeah, it makes sense because they can control their facial express, or like they can control their muscles near perfectly, right? So the micro expressions or the whatever that a spectator is looking for just wouldn't apply. Klein reached out and grabbed the silver tin box which vampire Emlyn White had thrown in as well. With a snapping sound, Klein opened the lid of the box, revealing a peach-like item inside. He didn't directly touch the thousand-faced hunter's pituitary gland. Instead, he placed the tin box over the top of the pot and overturned it. A yellow-brown object with grooves and ridges of a brain fell in, crashing into the dark blue liquid. At this moment, no liquid droplets splashed up, and the pituitary gland that was constantly changing its shape silently melted. The color of a gray and yellowish brown quickly merged with a dark blue, and the bubbling suddenly increased in size. At this point, Klein was a little nervous, but he controlled himself. He picked up the last box and overturned the huge diamond-like human skin shadow characteristic into the pot. All of a sudden, the mist converged, and even the glow of the gas lamps showed signs of being attracted and devoured as the room turned darker. When everything returned to normal, Klein finally saw what the final potion looked like. It was blackish green all over, and from time to time it would produce a bubble the size of an eye, as if it had a life of its own. It would produce a bubbling sound every few seconds. When the bubble reached the surface, it would immediately burst, and during this process it would reflect light in a myriad of colors. The colors combined to form a picture of different faces, and the different features seemed to be a random combination. Klein... That's so cool, like even the fucking potion is like basically hinting at the powers he's gonna get. Like, it'll reflect a myriad of colors to show like, hey, you can become whatever. It picks up different faces, and the features don't seem to match because you can put on whatever features of any person or whatever. Like, this world is so unbelievably well crafted, dude. Klein picked up the iron pot with one hand and poured the liquids inside a glass bottle that he had prepared beforehand. Because of a potion's characteristic, not one bit was left in the pot. Klein did an advanced last ring. Your divination scares me. Dude, it's actually fucked. My divination keeps coming true. Because, like, I want my divination to just tell me what I want to hear, but it fucking doesn't, and it's so annoying. Because of a potion's characteristic, not one bit was left inside the pot. Using divination to confirm the degree of harm was acceptable, which meant that the potion had been successfully concocted. Klein took the faceless potion bottle and steadily walked back to the second floor, entering the room with the curtains closed. Dude, can you fucking imagine? Klein picks up the potion, goes to go upstairs, fucking trips on the stairs, falls down, drops the potion, and it's fucked. That would be amazing. He gets set back like 130 chapters because he fucking couldn't control himself. I already told you the percentage might. I feel like the percentage is getting better, not worse, Dr. Z, which is crazy. And Milo assures me that, like, oh, I shouldn't be a seer, you know, like, you haven't gotten that much stuff right. Oh, that guy can fucking suck it, dude. You will get the faceless floor. After locking the door, he sat on the edge of the bed, and with the help of cogitation, he calmed his slightly agitated and anxious mood. After sitting upright for more than 10 seconds, Klein twisted the cap off the bottle, raised his right hand, and poured the entire potion into his mouth. A slightly tingling sensation swished into his mouth and esophagus, and finally it fermented into a numbing sensation that made him lose his senses. That'd be some sort of action done by his spiritual intuition to save him from an expired potion? Base. True. He doesn't find out until like 800 chapters later that it was actually a ploy by In Song-Will, who had snuck into his house and replaced one of the potion ingredients with a shitty one, and he was gonna die if he drank it. Klein's psyche seemed to be extracted from his body as he had the feeling of being a bystander and saw his mouth, nose, ears, and eyes melting. His entire face was melting. In just 2 or 3 seconds, his face and head had turned into what seemed like scorched white wax. His body was similarly abnormal. It was as if his bones and skins were being melted by blood. No, I can't allow such a situation to continue developing. Klein knew that if he didn't keep it under control, he could be on the verge of losing control at any moment. As a spectator, he tried his best to pull back his thoughts to his body, trying to visualize the layers of stacked spherical light to maintain his state of cogitation. After a brief but repeated attempt, he finally felt his body once again. He tried his best to control every tiny part of his body to hold on to his lower limit. I don't know what does it mean by hold on to his lower limit? It's like the reverse flash going dude, the reverse flash is actually the pettiest fucking villain ever. God bless him for that. As the melting and dissolving assaulted him again and again, Klein lost sense of how long he had held on for. But when it finally came to an end, he regained the feeling that his body belonged to him. At that moment, he knew that he had finally broken through the threshold and was now a sequence 6. He was now a faceless. Let's fucking go! Klein just solved like 50% of his problems now. Now that he can morph into whoever he wants. Holy shit. He just solved like 50% of his problems. This guy's gonna be fucking goated now. Oh my god. Let's go. It means keep his human form and not past the irreversible point. Oh, I see. Klein is controlling so he won't return to his original form. A money hungry Ken. Klein didn't sweat, but he was mentally exhausted. He barely got to his feet and walked to the full-length mirror, trying to observe what he looked like. Under the gas lamp's illumination, he took 2 sudden steps back and caused the floor to reverberate. The scene in the mirror was extremely shocking. Klein saw that his face and exposed skin were covered with dense, pale granules. It would make any normal creature who saw those go numb and subconsciously resist. The more timid one becomes, the more timid ones might even lose their minds. Despite knowing the acting method and having completely digested the magician potion, my advancement to sequence 6 was still rather difficult. I was only 2 or 3 steps away from losing control. I wonder how much of a risk those beyonders who rely on the accumulation of time and are barely qualified to consume the potion faced. The probability of failure isn't low. It's no wonder that sequence 7 is relatively common among the members of the churches, and they will shoulder the responsibility of a captain or bishop, while the number of sequence 6s are beginning to plummet. With the help of cogitation, he was able to restrain his overflowing spirituality and recover from his exhaustion. Yeah, if Captain Dunn took a sequence 6, he would have fucking immediately lost it. Obviously, I understand that every pathway is different because their qualitative changes come at different times. I understand that. All that being said, still. About 10 minutes later, the disgusting granules on his body had completely faded and merged into his flesh. Klein exhaled a sigh of relief. He walked back to the full-length mirror and looked at his full bearded appearance. Suddenly, his facial hair began to squirm. His flesh and skin began to undergo a bizarre change like half-melted wax. Within a second or two, Klein had reverted to his original appearance. Black hair, brown eyes, ordinary features, a clean face with a deep outline, and a somewhat thin body. He quietly gazed at his past self and stretched out his right hand to press it against his face. Aww. You know what you're gonna do? Your goal is to defeat the Demon Lord? Well, what world am I isekaiing into? If I don't know of the world, then I would want to study up on the world first. Even Isengard said that most readers can't make it to sequence 6. Yeah, even like Isengard himself said, like, I fully digested my potion, but like but I'm still scared to advance, which is crazy because Isengard is like, he's a smart cookie. He quietly gazed at his past self and stretched out his right hand to press it against his face. With a gentle touch, Klein's face changed again. His bridge nose was high, his lips abnormally thin, and there was a tinge of elegance on his handsome face. There was an uncomfortable pride in his appearance. It was none other than vampire Emlyn White. Okay, from that jobless hold on. From what he just described right there, tell me that's not right. Tell me he doesn't look like Benedict Cumberbatch. Okay, hear me out. Nose bridge was high, lips extremely thin, and a tinge of elegance on his handsome face. Tell me that is not Benedict Cumberbatch to the fucking letter. This is him. This is the man. The myth, the legend, the real Sherlock Holmes. Am I a fucking child? Yes, I am. No, I missed the advancement. Rogers will pay. Jobless reincarnation. I know this one. Sorry, I don't do Mushoku Tensei. Okay, sorry, I don't do well with the English names of stuff. Okay, Mushoku Tensei. I would definitely read the manga more. I would want to. I'd want to definitely read the manga a couple more times. I'd want to know who the main issues are. I'd want to know important dates, and then get isekai'd in. I'd do just fine. A year, I could totally kill the Demon Lord in a year. Yeah, I got no issues. At this moment, a little too short, he laughed at himself. At this moment, the bones and ligaments in his body began to produce crackling and snapping sounds as his entire body suddenly soared up a little. He now looked identical to Emlyn White. I've noticed that I can accurately recall the external appearance and temperament of every person I know, and I can grasp their unique scent. Klein's pores squirmed and his body changed accordingly. The smell of his body became different as a result of this. That's crazy. He can even change his smell. He changed into a he looked into the full-length mirror again, letting his hairline slowly recede, and changed the color of his eyes into a deep gray. Done. Without a sound, Dunn Smith seemed to come alive again, and he was staring at the team member who always came up to him to report on unusual matters. That's so depressing. RDJ is the real Sherlock Holmes? You are fucking wrong. You've clearly never seen the BBC show. Watch it. It's so good. Benedict Cumberbatch is my fucking Sherlock Holmes. Letting out a breath, Klein returned to his original form, but the corners of his mouth remained curled upwards. He thought for a moment, took a few steps back, and looked at the magazine, Ladies' Aesthetics, which he had bought to look at fashionable beauties. He noted down the appearance of the actress on the cover. Then he went back to the full-length mirror and wiped his face with his right hand. When he looked in the mirror again, he saw a young lady with black hair that went past her shoulders and delicate facial features. It really works. Klein looked down at his chest, but he didn't see any protrusions. Trying hard to control his body, he managed to create a pair of A cups by moving his fat and some of his flesh. Yo, what the fuck? I've seen every episode, Wiz. I know it all. Fuck, no, you're just... Okay, in that case, you're just wrong, okay? The Sherlock movie was good. I'm not denying. The movies were fine. They're not half as good as the TV show, though. However, there was nothing he could do about his lower body. Thank Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't need to know any of this. That is to say, it's just a superficial change in appearance, nothing fundamental. Also, I can grow taller or shorter by about 10 centimeters at the moment. Going beyond would be difficult. Also, there's a limit to the enlargement and shrinkage of the head. For example, I can't mimic Father Utravsky. I can't mimic Father Utravsky's half-giant head at all. I can only observe the appearance and temperament of the target in an instant without knowing anything related to him. It's easy for me to be exposed when facing a spectator like Miss Justice. In the clown stage, the clown restrains the spectator, but in the faceless stage, it's actually somewhat restricted by the spectator. Interesting. Can faceless augment PP size? No, negative. He said I can't, he said there was nothing he can do about the lower body, so negative. Upon having this thought, Klein stopped changing and returned to the appearance of Sherlock Moriarty. Divination, fighting, as well as the magician's powers have all been enhanced. As for how much they improved, it can only be confirmed through practice. I should find some time to head to the Quelaag Club tomorrow. Klein took one last look and went downstairs to clean up his mess. After rounding up everything, he quickly washed up and crawled into bed. Lying there, he looked out the window at the crimson moonlight and gradually calmed himself down. Good night, Faceless. 452. At least at sequence 6. Are you saying this gets improved as well? Oh, wait! Oh my god! We actually do get to hear about him! My goat! My actual goat! Fuck everybody else, okay? This is my actual goat. I don't care about anyone else. My actual goat. We get to hear about him. Yeah, we are cooked 1 hour and 1 chapter. Bro, Ramiro, it has been 2 chapters in 40 minutes, okay? That is my normal standard pace of 20 minutes a chapter. Don't try to gaslight me, bro. Why are you doing this? It's a high sequence ability. Shut up. Okay. Everything gets improvement, so why not? I can't talk about this. Townsend Street, in between Empressboro and Westboro. Gio Derecha was standing in the dark, secluded alley. Even without looking up, she could see the countless magnificent palaces and the tall Gothic towers in the distance. It was the highest district in the whole of Backland, and it was also where the lone royal family resided. It shared the same or even slightly higher status as the White Maple Palace of Intis and the Ormir Palace of the Fasak Empire in the Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom, and in the entire world, but its name was neither romantic nor ancient. It was called the Sodella Palace, and in ancient Fasak it meant balance. Gio looked away from the famous Bellof Order and directed her sight to the other side of the alley. In the shadows where the street lamps didn't shine, a figure slowly walked out. A figure wore a golden mask that revealed the lower half of his face. It was none other than the mysterious person who had previously sold the sheriff formula to Gio and occasionally entrusted her with some tasks. When Gio and Forrest discussed in private, they both suspected that the person was from MI9. Any progress this week? Gio shook her head. No. I don't think anyone was keeping tabs on Capim before the incident. She paused for a moment, then reluctantly asked, "Do you still want to continue investigating?" "There's no need, but if you hear anything related in the future, contact me right away. Today, I'll give you a new mission." "What mission?" "This is a very simple one, and it's the one you've been dreaming of doing. Seek to purchase the sheriff and interrogator main ingredient in all your circles. Especially a special ingredient that can be directly concocted into a potion. If someone responds, we will pay for it." "The ingredients will belong to me?" she blurted out. "No. Do you believe that such a simple mission would have such a high reward? Of course, if you're able to fish out the person we're looking for, it's not impossible to negotiate and let you obtain the main ingredients." "But I don't know the main ingredients of the interrogator formula." "I'll tell you later. This is also our advance payment. Even if we don't find the target, you'll have the main portion of a Sequence 7 formula, worth £600. I think you're fully aware of our generosity." Generous indeed. Who's their target and why are they willing to go so above and beyond? Well, if he were from MI9, taking advantage of this mission to retrieve beyond ingredients of the Arbiter pathway should also be one of his goals. There is no problem about wasting money. After some deliberation, she nodded. I'll take the commission. Very good. The interrogator potion's main ingredients are the horn of the flash-patterned black snake and the dust of a lake spirit. I can't remember. Does Klein know the potion formula, or does he have an ingredient? I can't remember. After saying that, he slowly retreated and melted into the shadows. He really told me the main ingredient of the interrogator potion. Only at that moment did she realize how much importance the masked man's faction placed on this mission. I wonder who their target is. It seems to be someone focused on some special ingredient that can be used directly to concoct a sheriff or interrogator potion. With this in mind, Gio froze up. She remembered one thing. When advancing to sheriff, she had used a special ingredient that she had bought through Fours, one that could be used to concoct the corresponding potion. This is their target? Gio instinctively decided to keep silent on this matter and never to tell the masked man a thing. Characteristic, okay. She rubbed her fat baby cheeks and walked along the street, ready to take a public carriage to the Sherwood Borough. At that moment, she saw a brown carriage drive past. Her eyes were instantly attracted by the coat of arms. Yes, that I knew. Thank you. Oh, good lord. The coat of arms consisted of a single flower and 2 rings. There was nothing special about it, but Gio stared at it in a daze, as though she was frozen. It was only when the carriage was far away that she withdrew her gaze. Her mood immediately reached rock bottom, but it didn't turn for the better, even when she returned to her shared rented house. Seeing that her friend was in a bad mood, Forrest poured 2 glasses of red wine and brought them to her. What happened? On my way back, I met someone I used to know. Who? Viscount Stratford. This Viscount seems to be the captain of the Royal Guards. Forrest thought for a moment and asked. As the best-selling author, she would receive invitations from noblemen who liked literature and participate in afternoon tea from parties and banquets from time to time. Yes. He used to be my father's deputy, Gio said with some difficulty. Oh, we're finally getting some Gio lore. Oh, for fuck's sakes. If we're getting Gio lore, is she joining the fucking... Oh, God. She's joining the fucking tarot club, isn't she? There's no other way. Because every time Klein seems to go up a sequence, we tend to get a tarot club member because his spirituality can handle the strain of another member. Now that he went up to sequence 6 faceless... We're now getting Gio lore that she's from an aristocratic family. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay. I don't have anything against Gio, let me be clear. It's just... I would have thought like Emlyn White was joining. Or in my ideal world, Miss Bodyguard before anyone else, but I don't see that happening. Your father. Forrest knew that Gio came from a fallen aristocratic family and had some secrets. However, she didn't know the specifics. Gio picked up a glass of red wine and gulped it down, coughing a few times. After calming herself down, she said, My family was once part of the aristocracy. In its heyday, it even served as a Earl Palatine. What in the fuck is a Earl I know what a Earl is. What is a Earl Palatine? Oh, never mind. Forrest asked the same question. Earl Palatine? What position is that? Forrest asked. It's equivalent to being a spokesperson for a royal family, nobles that are the closest to the throne. Gio said in recollection. From that moment forth, our family had a fief a true earl would have. I don't know what a fief... What is a fief? Fief. An estate of land, especially one held on condition of feudal service. Oh, okay. Had the fief a true earl would have, but it wasn't as illustrious during the time of my father. However, We still held the trust of of the former king, Might Wielder William the Sixth. He was the leader of the Household Guards Division and the captain of the Royal Guards. Her tone gradually turned melancholic, but 7 years ago, he was accused of participating in a revolt, and he was eventually executed and deprived of his aristocratic title and fiefdom. Because of this, my family fell from grace. Many of my family members died for no reason. In order to live, we changed our surname and left East Tucker County. I don't believe that my father would engage in mutiny. He was so loyal, even more so than his belief in the goddess. Anyway, I left my mother and youngest brother and came to Backland, looking for a chance to improve myself, hoping to restore my family's glory and my father's reputation. Forrest sighed and said, "It'll be very, very difficult, but I will support you." And behind me is the mysterious tarot club, she added in her mind. Nighttime in Tingen City, Daffodil Street. Melissa, Benson, what's up with you guys? Let's go. Let's go. Melissa was doing math problems and turned her head to the door and looked at Benson, who had just taken off his half-top hat. "Where did you go? Aren't the results announced tomorrow?" "They're already available tonight, and I happen to know 2 of the city employees who were in charge of the unified exam." "Oh, how'd you do, Benson?" In early December, he had enrolled for the Civil Servant Union Unified Examination, selected a relatively uncompetitive position, and in the process established friendships with several civil servants and a number of examination candidates through his eloquence and communication skills. "What was the result?" Melissa asked. "I passed, and I'm ranked quite high." "I'm so happy for him. That's awesome." "That's great." Melissa stood up and took 2 steps forward. "You have to start preparing for the second round of exams at the end of January. It's held in Backland. I need to prepare your luggage for you ahead of time. When are you planning on leaving?" "I plan to do so after New Year's. We'll go to Backland together and rent a house there." Oh my god. Is Klein going to get to meet them as Sherlock? I really hope not. It would be too heartbreaking for him to be close to his brother and sister and not be able to actually tell them. Aw, that'd suck. Although I guess it'd be nice to just see they're doing okay. I don't know. It's a hard emotional question. I don't know how I deal with it. Is one of the hardest formulas one can come by because it's strictly controlled by the military? Yes, Dr. Daniel. It's controlled by the military and the royal family of Intis and thing. I think it is. Sorry, it's in my notes somewhere. I better be losing my fucking mind. Faina Potter royal family and the and their lone one, obviously. Okay. Regardless of the success of the exam, I'm prepared to stay in Backland and try my luck. And you can take advantage of the New Year's holiday to transfer to the technical school in Backland to prepare for the entrance exam for the Backland University of Technology and Industry in June. Just a month ago, the Backland Polytechnic of Technology and Industry had been reorganized and officially upgraded to a university. Melissa's lips unconsciously pursed as she quietly listened. Okay. Friday afternoon at the Quelaag Club, Klein walked around and hired a carriage to head for Prince Edisac's Red Rose Manor. It was the place where Talam had gone a few days before his death. As a qualified detective, he would be completely unworthy of the £100 he was paid if he didn't hold any investigations there. No matter what, I have to put on a convincing act, Klein muttered. After his morning practice, he had roughly grasped the range of improvements in every aspect. Flame controlling, flame jumping, and other beyonder powers had become about 30% stronger. What the fuck does that even mean? What does flame controlling being 30% stronger mean? I don't even know what that means. That's like, like when people say like when people put like percentages on like beliefs, it frustrates the shit out of me. Like when someone says like, oh, I'm like 60% sure. Like, what in the actual fuck does 60% sure of a thing mean? I don't know what that means, bro. Remember when Klein hired a private detective and he only paid them £7? £7, and that guy had to do so much. He basically went around all of Tingen looking for a fucking red chimney. That is wild. Klein has pretended to do like an hour and a half worth of work and got paid £100. This is crazy shit. The might of air bullets and the length of the underwater breathing pipe had increased several fold. Okay, like the might of air bullets increasing several fold is like cool. His divination and combat skill had also received a substantial improvement. Very good. What 60% certainty is a real concept? Well, that's true, Dr. Z, but it's different in stats, and it's different for when you think of stats, you think of a population basis. You don't, or like a sample size. You don't think of an individual. Sorry, let me finish this chapter, and then I'll explain what I mean by that. Paper figurine substitutes and damage transfers didn't experience much change, but because of the growth of his spirituality, the number of times he could use them had increased. Klein finally arrived at the Red Rose Manor amidst the rumbling journey and informed the two guards at the entrance of his purpose. After passing the news, he met the old butler. "You can ask everyone here," the butler said, "except that lady." "That's what I want, but I can't get into trouble." Klein laughed casually. "All right. So even in stats, so since you're a doctor, and the actual idea that comes to my mind is referring to medical studies anyway, so I'll just refer to that. Like when you read about the efficacy of certain drugs, and it says, hey, like this drug has a 30% on a population basis. This drug has a 30% increase in, or this drug works 30% of the time to bring, let's say, the blood pressure back into normal ranges from a hypertensive range. That is it for a population basis. You don't give that to a patient and say like, hey, this has a 30% chance of working. Because what in the fuck does that even mean? Realistically, what that means is almost every patient you give it to, it'll do nothing. Like, it's useless, right? So but that's why when you give it to a client, you say like, hey, okay, you can make the number 60%, Dr. Z, but you get the point. So that's why when you give a drug to a client, you say like, hey, or a patient rather, sorry, not client. Banking terms, I apologize. You give it to them and say like, hey, let's try this for a week and or like 2 weeks or whatever the trial period is, and say like, hey, and then let's have you come back in and see what your blood pressure looks like. Like, right? So stats mean something on a sample basis or on a population basis. They mean nothing to an individual. Stats for an individual are fucking useless. Why the fuck are stairs in quotations? You know what? The fact that stairs are in quotations, you know what this makes me think of? I can't remember the girl. I can't remember the name. But do you guys, anyone who's read or watched One Piece, the girl that Zoro used to train with when he was a kid, who was going to be like the world's strongest swordsman or whatever, who died falling down the stairs? That's what this reminds me of. Why the fuck are stairs in quotes? Red Rose Manor. I remember Cunha. Yes. Cuina. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Romero. Red Rose Manor. Outside the luxurious rooms filled with all kinds of antiques. Klein stood at the door and asked the 6 maid he had met today. The young maid was wearing a black and white servant dress that had the characteristic of the times. She was pretty, in her prime, and had natural curls to her brown hair. Who does Mr. Talum meet when he visits? Klein repeated the question numbly. Mr. Talum usually requests to meet His Highness or to accompany him in riding horses, or to discuss other matters. If His Highness happens to be absent, he will meet with that lady. They are very good friends. He receives permission from his butler. Talum is good friends with the commoner lady who Prince Edisac likes. Meeting in private from time to time, it was likely that he was persuading her to leave this place so as to not affect the reputation of the prince. Mr. Talum and the young lady, what would they talk about? When he asked this question, Klein suddenly recalled how Talum had fallen in love recently. With his rich experience from the information age, he somehow came up with an extremely contrived romance story. The maid wasn't afraid of detectives. She smiled, shook her head, and said, "At times like this, we're all asked to leave the room." This, even more than ever, Klein couldn't help resist making associations, even to the point of changing the colors of Prince Edisac's hat and helmet. I don't know what the fuck that reference is. Without waiting for him to ask any further questions, the maid chuckled and said, "Detective, if you want to find out exactly what the lady and Mr. Talum talk about, you can ask her directly. The old butler doesn't permit that." Klein confidently pushed out his scapegoat. He changed the subject and said, "You seem to know more than the other servants. You even know to call me Detective Moriarty." "It's because I've been serving the lady during my rotations. She's always wanted to meet you, Detective. After all, she's close friends with Mr. Talum and cares a great deal about his death. Unfortunately, she always ends up missing you. Always." Klein was sensitive to words like always, just happened, and missed. Yeah. Always, just happened, and so not always, but just happened and missed make me think fate, which makes me think of Ain't Zongwil, the little shit. Yo, to tell him the prince, shut up. Shut up. Stairs, no diff. So gigging down these stairs, think about it. Based. The maid nodded. The first time His Highness invited you to be his guest, she intentionally threw a tantrum and wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to walk down the stairs to meet you. Who knew that you would leave in a hurry? Afterward, she took the initiative to represent His Highness to place flowers on Talum's grave. But as she didn't know what you looked like, she wasn't able to find you. And today, she just happened to go to the golf course out back to relax on horseback. Otherwise, even if the butler didn't allow it, she would have tried to find a way to meet you. What a coincidence, Klein sighed. What's your favorite video game? Mine are Black Flag and Ghost of Tsushima. My favorite video game of all time is Witcher 3. God, I fucking adore that game. After that, it would probably be Skyrim, I think. And then third would be GTA 5. I can't not put GTA 5 up there with how many hours I've spent on it. It's crazy. What a coincidence. On the day of Talum's funeral, it was the commoner lady he loved who had offered flowers in the prince's place. On that day, Klein was most concerned about the lady in the black veil and the sapphire ring on her finger. She might have a grade 0 artifact or some powerful existence of an equal level. All of a sudden, a thought flashed through Klein's mind. The woman with the sapphire ring on her hand was wearing a long, heavy black dress. Accompanied by two maids, she slowly disappeared into the distance. One of the ladies had natural brown curls. The image of the maid quickly overlapped with the one in front of Klein. It was abnormally identical. Klein's body tensed up and sweat rolled down his back, but his expression didn't change. And Ghost of Tsushima got robbed for the year? Oh, I loved I'm playing Bellator right now, Justin. I just downloaded it like 2 or 3 days ago. I'm playing it on PlayStation right now. Wait, who won Game of the Year if not Ghost of Tsushima when it came out? Ghost of Tsushima was a while back. I am so excited for Ghost of Yotei though. I have so many hours in I've played Ghost of Tsushima like 5 times. It's crazy. I love that game. The combat is perfect. Last of Us Part 2? Oh. I've never played any of the Last of Us games, I'm not gonna lie. Amon, I don't believe I've seen you here before. Getting a day one? Yeah, me too, dude. I can't wait. Ghost of Yotei is gonna be based as fuck. I hope. Dude, like they could change absolutely nothing about the combat, leave it as is, and it's perfect in my book. A wild Amon appears. Yes. Oh, that's so funny. If Amon showed up in chat like I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, he would have been a spoiler. That's so funny. Using the ability of a clown, he pretended he was recalling the event and asked with a smile, "Were you the lady on the day of Talam's funeral?" The maid replied without much thought, "Yes." Damn, it really is her. Very well. Next question. As if nothing had happened, he began to inquire about other things. Then he switched to another servant and continued. However, Klein secretly shortened the process and sped up the progress. He wanted to leave the Red Rose Manor before the young lady returned from her riding. Oh, he's afraid. Oh, he's afraid that if she gets to see what he looks like, she might just fucking kill him or something. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, before the sky had turned dark, Klein left the manor much earlier than expected and took a carriage sent by the old butler back to the city. Sitting in the window with his back against the wall, wrapped in silk and muslin, he was relieved to have the energy to reflect the whole situation. It was Prince Edisac's beloved commoner who had cursed Talam. But why did she have to deal with the descendant of a fallen noble family? To take revenge against Talam for trying to break them up? But there's no need for her to do it herself. She could find a chance to mention it while in bed, and the prince would have plenty of ways to make Talam disappear without a sound. Talam was in a state of deep love before he died. The first sign was after he successfully persuaded the commoner lady to leave Prince Edisac. They had an affair. So the commoner lady was brought back to the manor, killed Talam in order to silence him and remove any latent dangers. I don't know why I keep feeling like this commoner lady's is of the assassin pathway. I'm totally probably fucking wrong, but like I feel like the assassin pathway is adept at curses. No, am I making this up? I don't know. Yeah, they are good at curses. So like, maybe she's off the demoness pathway. And then she killed him. Her brain has been rewired to think whoever seduces another, they're a demon. Unironically true. Based. I was talking to a girl a couple of days ago, and in my mind I was like, oh my god, she's a demoness. I don't know. I feel like we have gone through the entirety of Volume 2 without hearing a fucking thing about Insong Will. So I feel like he's gonna be involved in some royally fucked up way. Mainly because we also don't know any other way to, any other thing that can counter the palace above or the gray fog. So I feel like for some, I don't fucking know why, Int somehow made this lady who might be a demoness or someone of the assassin pathway at some level kill Talam. For what reason he killed Talam, couldn't fucking tell you. Okay, I got no clue. Hold on. Logically speaking, it makes sense, but the problem is how could a person with a grade 0 sealed artifact or a powerhouse of an equivalent level be restricted by Prince Edisac? Even if the Augustus family is an angel family, with the accumulation of enough knowledge, they would still be able to use tremendous strength and special methods to restrain someone like that. This isn't something a prince can do. Besides, how could such a figure have taken a fancy to Talim? Klein, you're thinking about this backwards. Do you think a demoness deals with people they love, sleeps with people because they fall for them, or vice versa? What are you talking about? That was probably a compliment. I suppose kind of. You know what they say about... Okay, shut up. No, if that were the case, I would have been buried with Talim on the day of his funeral. Besides, when she first wanted to see me, I didn't have any blood, hair, or belongings. I hadn't made any divinations yet. Klein was puzzled as he thought about it. In the end, he decided to bury the problem deep in his heart. He wasn't to probe or investigate. I hope that the hive mind with my earlier reminder will pay importance to this matter of noticing the royal family's abnormality. Yes, they might regard it with great importance, not because of Prince Edisac's reputation, but for another reason. I hope the royal family continues to prevent the lady from visiting me. After a few days, when the time is right, I'll relinquish the mission, express how powerless I am, and then use the excuse of going south for a holiday to change my identity and hide for a while. Yeah, I doubt that's gonna work twice in a row, buddy boy. Evenings in Backland were always replaced with dark clouds and drizzling rain, and Klein, who felt physically and mentally exhausted, held down his half-top hat and walked back home under the illumination of street lamps. After resting for a while and taking advantage of his dark surroundings, he went above the grey fog. After advancing to Sequence 6, he always wanted to check the mysterious space to see if there were any changes. However, he was too tired last night and couldn't wake up in the middle of the night. He had to wait until he was done being busy outside. In addition, Klein had to eliminate any interferences in order to divine a particular matter. That was, after this advancement, when his spirituality wasn't stable, he didn't hear the illusory ravings of Hornacis Flagrea. Oh, this is true! True! He wanted to know if this was a natural change after ascending to Sequence 6, or if there was another reason. Within the majestic palace, the modeled bronze table and the 22 high-backed chairs with different symbols on their backs stood quietly. It was as if they had remained unchanged since time immemorial. The same was true for the grey fog below them, as well as the endless emptiness around them. But as soon as Klein entered, his spiritual intuition was keenly aware that the mysterious space was somehow different. Whoa! He was in a hurry to explore and make any attempts. Calming himself down, he sat down and wrote a divination statement. The reason why I haven't heard any ravings after my advancement. Holding the piece of paper and muttering the sentence, Klein leaned back into his chair and entered the dreamland with the help of cogitation. He almost lost control. That's true. I wonder if that's related. Like the ravings are there to remind him, but they won't be present if they're going to push him over the edge. In the dusty sky and land, images flashed, and in the end, they all came to a stop on a particular scene. It was Klein, whose face and body was still covered in pale granules. He was covered by an illusory thin layer of the grey fog that was undetectable. Hold on. The grey fog was now with him on the ground? That's fucked. I mean, that's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. That's not a bad thing, because it means he's basically like anti-divination to a certain degree now. The dream Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. If the grey fog is down with him, doesn't that mean to a degree he's also anti 008? Because at the end of volume 1, whenever Klein went above the gray fog and did some shit, we like you guys told me that Ince always had to erase those entries and write new ones because the gray fog was fucking with his I'm gonna call it prediction. I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? His fortune telling ability or whatever. So now that the gray fog is with him, is it with him all the time, or was it just when he was advancing? Wait, because if it's with him all the time, he might be able to resist 008. That'd be based as fuck. Oh, hold on. The gray fog has interwoven with reality, helping me block the ravings that come from who knows where. After advancing to sequence 6, my connection with the mysterious space has gotten even stronger, thus bringing about certain changes and allowing me to naturally borrow a portion of its power. From the looks of it, that should be the case. Yes, I should try to explore the area and see if there are any changes. Klein slowly stood up and followed his spiritual perception, walking a certain direction outside the ancient palace. Beneath his feet was the grey fog that spread out like the ocean. He finally decided to stop walking after an unknown period of time. However, when he gave up exploring, a light suddenly flickered at the end of the path. In his joy, Klein quickened his pace and approached. 7 or 8 seconds later, he saw a flight of stairs that seemed to lead to heaven. What the fuck is happening here? The staircase was formed from pure light. It was wholly transparent and untainted, capable of shocking anyone's heart. See, the fact that it says pure light makes me think of the 7 lights or whatever the fuck of the spiritual plane put together. Because like you combine all those lights together, you get pure light, which is a white light, right? There were only 4 levels as the staircase reached up into the void. Each level was rather high, as though it was meant for a creature larger than even giants. What is your favorite painting? I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't particularly have one. The Starry Night is a really good one, but I would have to think more on that bullseye. I don't have an answer off the top of my head. I would have to think more. It's not something I've given a lot of consideration. Klein looked up and followed the path and saw a layer of grayish-white fog, condensed and suspended in midair, as though it was supporting something. It was a significant distance from the staircase of light. I'll be gone for 5 minutes. Dr. Z, don't do anything. The 4-stepped staircase represents my consumption of sequence 9, 8, 7, and 6. What exactly is above that layer of fog? Klein cautiously advanced until he reached the staircase of light and stepped onto it. There was nothing odd about the steps. They were as solid as stone. Klein went up the stairs, climbed up to the 4th floor, and tried to look up at the area above the grey fog. Unfortunately, his vision couldn't penetrate a thing. He thought for a moment, then took 2 steps forward and jumped up with all his might. However, the moment he left the staircase of light, he lost his momentum and his spirit body's flight instinct. He plummeted straight down and landed on the bottom layer of the grey fog. Looks like I need to advance another 2 or 3 sequences. If sequence 4 does make a qualitative change, then I should be able to see it after becoming a demigod. Klein looked up and made a judgment. Hold on. Okay. Okay, that's 453 done. Hold on. I just wanna go over what happened last chapter, and then you guys can confirm, okay? So Klein enters the gray fog, okay? This is the gray fog. Call me crazy. He then walks out for a while and sees a giant staircase. Like giant fucking stairs, each bigger than the last, okay? And he can currently only see 4 steps because he's on sequence 6. He gets, for fuck's sake, I drew this up too high. when he gets up here, he can't see anything above. He tries jumping, but he can't see a fucking thing. And when he jumps, he falls all the way back down. Okay? Not out, just a little. Not out, just a little away from the table. I thought he said he walked. I thought he said walked for a while, but okay. Either way, that's not the part that really matters. Okay. Okay. So I got that right. Okay. So what this makes me think is that the gray fog that I'm gonna say we, but like Klein's been using with that table down here and all this bullshit, is like a weaker version of the gray fog that exists. Maybe as he gets to, I don't know whether that's sequence 5 or whether that's 4 or whether that's sequence 1, I don't know. But as he moves up, he's going to get access to a stronger, what's the right way to put it? Like a more real version of whatever this is. Like I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. Like he's basically on the trial version right now, so to speak. And then once he gets to, he said sequence 4, so let's go with that. Once he becomes a demigod, he'll get access to the full-fledged version of it. Like you know, if you have Windows, but you don't pay for the license, you get that shitty little thingamajig on the right. That like your Windows isn't activated or whatever. That's what he's got right now. He's got a trial version, okay? And then once he steps his shit up, he will get access to the true fog. And then I don't know what that looks like because this place is already dope as fuck. But shit, I want to know what the real gray fog gives him if this is a fake version. Not a fake, but like a, you know, like a trial version. You know what I'm talking about? Get to version alpha instead of version beta that has been used. Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Yeah. Like let's say, like if there's a being or a thing that grants this power, I don't know if that's the case, but let's say there is. If there's a being or a thing that grants this power, right now the gray fog requires monetization. If there's a thing, this is the gray fog, but Klein is currently here. He's 2 standard deviations away. Okay. He will right here. He has a lot of great power, a power that's capable of fighting a sequence 0. Like it was trading blows effectively with the quill, right? So like it's a dope fucking thing. But the fact that there is a staircase makes me think there's something up here. He probably just doesn't have access to it because of the spiritual strain or some shit. Like if he got the real version, he would just straight up fucking die because his spiritual body couldn't handle it. That's why, like, the first Tarot Club meetings lasted way shorter than they do now, because Klein wasn't a Beyonder, then he became a Beyonder, they lasted longer. He became a Sequence 8, he could add more people, he became a Sequence 7, he could add another person. Once he gets to, like, a demigod, his spiritual body can sustain the pressure of whatever the alpha version, or whatever, or the premium version. I don't fucking know. Okay. Yeah, that's it. All right. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right. Let's. All right. Okay. Someone say premium. Like a stairway to heaven? You just locked area like oh, true based. True, it's a DLC version, Nightwalker. Oh my god, it's a based. Even better. After looking around, Klein, who had found nothing else, returned to the stone pillar-propped ancient palace. He sat at the head of the long bronze table with his eyes half closed. He examined his spirituality growth and with the number of members he could draw in. Including the empty positions that I could handle before, I can still recruit 4 new members. Whoa! But there are no suitable members at the moment. Klein shook his head and muttered before returning to the real world to get himself a good dinner. Dude, get Miss Bodyguard. Come on. Get her. Yes, I don't even care if she provides anything of value, okay? It's just, she's very, we're just happy to have her around, really. It's just soothing to the heart. After slicing potatoes, boiling beef and adding onions and stir-frying them for a while, as well as sprinkling seasoning like sugar and pepper, Klein poured the prepared hot water into the saucepan, covered it with a lid, and turned down the fire. I have to admit that a magician's flame control is a really good helper in the kitchen. Ever since I got it, my culinary skills have certainly improved. If it wasn't for the loss of control, the monsters, the searches, and the evil gods, the world would be at peace if everyone was dedicated to using their powers without causing damage. Klein left the kitchen to enter the living room. As the light from the wall lamp spilled out, Klein, who had been planning to flip through the magazines and wait for the appropriate time to throw in the potatoes, carrots, and proper amount of salt, couldn't help but think about how to act as a faceless. After just waking up in the morning, my spirituality has completely stabilized. I discovered that although there aren't many signs of digesting the faceless potion in me, I have a certain level of harmony. This is a phenomenon that has never happened after consuming the seer, clown, and magician form potions. There's a pretty big list of cons. True, yes. By the way, Romero, I did a little bit of theory crafting while you were gone. If you're interested, just pop back like 5 minutes or something. I don't think it was even that long. I discovered there's a harmony. It makes sense that there's a harmony with the faceless potion. Klein has been basically acting as a faceless, right? He's been acting as just nothing. He's been acting as someone who he isn't. That's a part of faceless, but more importantly, he's been acting as someone else who is looking not to be remembered. He's someone who doesn't want to stand out. He's like, I don't want to get involved in anything big. That's like the biggest part of faceless. Like, hey, I just want to be a fly on the wall, so to speak. With this in mind, Klein looked up the oriel window, and it was already dark outside. It had become like a mirror, faithfully reflecting Sherlock Moriarty, with his black eyes, black hair, brown eyes, beard, and gold-rimmed glasses. Perhaps it's because I've always been acting as Klein Moretti. Yes, in a way, Sherlock Moriarty is just Klein's disguise, not someone else. I was listening, just wanted to look at you. Oh, okay, yeah, no, all good, Romero. I didn't know if you were here or not. Okay. Although I've received many memory fragments and gained some of the original feelings that previously existed, in essence, I'm still a guest from an alternate world. I am Earth's keyboard warrior, Zhou Mingru? Zhou. I think Zhou is the most accurate version I can give it. I've been through so much in the last 5 months that sometimes I think I'm Klein. Amidst the silence, many things flash through Klein's mind. However, I'm still Zhou, who's donning the skin of Klein, someone who's never given up the idea of returning. He closed his eyes and opened them again. The figure reflected on the oriel window had suddenly changed. It was a young man with dark brown eyes and short black hair. It was Zhou Mingru. Long time no see. Klein raised his hands and rubbed his face. By the time he lowered his arms, he was back to Sherlock. After this period of contemplation and adjustment, he inexplicably felt the gap between his spirituality and the potion had reduced significantly. There were signs of them slowly bending together. No wonder marionettist Rosego's teacher, yes, perhaps his teacher would say that you can disguise yourself as anyone, but you are only ultimately yourself. That is the core principle of a faceless's acting method. Once one forgets this point, it would be easy to forget yourself amidst the constant change. Even turning into a monster. Oh, so Klein should really digest this one quick as fuck, eh? What are we saying? Sub 600 for sequence 5? Is that crazy? Do we go gambling? Dare I say we gamble? We go gambling. Fuck it. Okay. Really quick gamble for the boys. And then back to reading, okay? I promise. I need to collect my hourly because I don't have anything to bet. Oh, wait. Never mind. I do have money. What the fuck? I bet. Fuck yeah, I do, Justin. Let's go, baby. 5,000 points. Klein reaches marionettist in under 600 chapters. True! Let's go! It has been confirmed by the gods! True! We are fucking... Dude, we are fucking goated. Oh, I'm actually putting this in my fucking theories, because if this works... I actually deserve to be a seer. That would be fucking nuts. Hold on. Hold on, I gotta put this in my theories, because if I forget, and I'd be so mad. Klein advances to sequence 5 in under 600 chapters. Okay, dope. Let's keep going. Sorry. Interesting. Damn, I do. Oh my god. You know what? Oh my god. I need to get the Hikari. I need to get the fucking Hikari emote for divinations. Gambling time? Fuck yeah, I do. Oh my god. Okay, I need to write that down. Okay, that's good. He crossed his right leg and leaned back, quickly coming up with a plan for the future. Search for and conclude the actual acting principles for a faceless. In the Beyonder circles of Backland, through the Tarot Club, gather information about mermaids, in preparation to complete the ritual at sea. Bro, fuck the ritual. Just pop the sequence 5. You'll be fine. You're goated. You'll be fine. You won't be crazy. Probably. Works out. Directly or indirectly, get the Solar High Priest formula to help Little Sun advance to sequence 7, so he has the clearance to obtain the method for removing a rampager's mental corruption. But I can't fully place my hopes on Little Sun. I should still attempt to look. Klein, whose mood was slowly turning stead, snapped his fingers, reducing the stove's fire in the kitchen as the fragrance of the beef emanated. At that moment, he heard the doorbell ring. It was none other than Lawyer Jurgen. Even though it was drizzling and the ground was wet, Jurgen was still dressed meticulously. "What's the matter?" Klein asked. Jurgen put away his black umbrella and said, "Sherlock, I'm leaving Backland next Monday to go south for a holiday. The warm environment and the clean air suits her well." "That's excellent news. You want me to temporarily adopt Brody?" Jurgen shook his head gravely. "My grandma can't bear to part with Brody and insisted on taking him with her. I've already asked. As long as we put him in a cage and buy a full-price ticket, he can board the steam train. But we have to keep the cage clean at all times to not pollute the air above." Honestly, the smell of a third-class carriage is enough to overwhelm the stench of cat poop, Klein chuckled. "Ah, he said you poor people smell worse than cat poop. That is nuts, dude." Oh, he said, "Oh, shit, brother, you already smell like dog shit. Don't worry about it." That is crazy. That is nuts. Oh, God. Brody shouldn't be too happy to leave, right? "But he's even more reluctant to part with my grandmother," Jurgen replied. "I'm here to inform you that if you need to be released on bail or settle any legal disputes during this time, you can go to my colleague. Here's his card. I've already informed him, and he won't be leaving Backland this year." What a professional. Klein thanked him with a smile, took the card and slipped it into his pocket. Jurgen didn't have any intention of chatting or entering the room. "I still have to visit the rest of my clients, Sherlock. I'll see you tomorrow. No. I'll see you next year." Klein actually racist towards poor people. It's crazy. Klein might be more racist towards them than Audrey's older brother. That is nuts. He said like, nah, dude, he said, you so stinky, the cat could poop right next to you, wouldn't even smell it, you little shit. Like, that is crazy. Then I must wish your family a happy new year in advance, Klein smiled. After watching Jurgen leave with his umbrella, Klein closed the door and sat down in the living room. At this moment, apart from the flame which was licking the bottom of the pot in the kitchen, there were no other sounds coming from the house. It was so quiet that Klein could hear the carriages outside moving in the distance. Klein leaned back on the sofa and looked out the window as the dark night and street lamps emanating the misty glow in the dark. In the deep cold silence, he sighed. The new year. Elitism is the word you're looking for, Ramiro. The lightning gradually calmed down and the darkness became the ruler of the earth. The exploratory team from the City of Silver finally reached their destination. Hold on, let me put on the music for Little Sun really quickly. What was the music? What is the music for Vanitas? Thank you, Justin. But look at that. I actually remembered, okay? I feel like I deserve some credit for that. I actually remembered it. Kami would be semi-proud. No, he'd just, no. He'd be like, this is the least you can do. The lightning gradually calmed down, and the darkness became the ruler of the earth. The exploratory team from the City of Silver finally reached their destination. After a short, but not short, trek and numerous battles. On both sides of the street, most of the houses had collapsed. Only a few could barely hold on, and their surfaces were mottled with the dust of time. With the help of an animal hide lantern whose light didn't reach far, Derek saw the completely collapsed walls and streets that were in such ruin that even weeds didn't grow. On both sides of the streets were half-collapsed... The white and blue colors that had formed the foundation of the coating, the pointed structure which were different from the City of Silver, had already turned grey, making it difficult for anyone to imagine their original appearance. However, Derek could figure out the city's past through his observation. It had definitely experienced a long history with a number of inhabitants, developing its own civilization in the Dark Ages. The humans here took potions, built and repaired buildings, and defended the city wall. About 6 or more had explored the outside and hunted monsters in search of the necessary resources to live. They would celebrate any brief periods of calm, offering sacrifices to the gods and yearning for a response. They gave birth to the next generation, allowing hope to continue. However, in the end, they disappeared into the darkness, losing all their voices and leaving behind only the ruins. The ruins were like a huge grave, burying a civilization that had struggled to survive but eventually vanished. Demon Hunter Colin looked around, his expression somewhat solemn, as though he saw the future of the City of Silver. He pointed ahead. The other places have already been cleared. The temple is in the center of the city. The exploratory team dispersed a little, but they still maintained sufficient order and didn't let down their guard. After passing through ruins that had been destroyed for an unknown period of time, and went past streets so quiet they drove people mad, Derek finally saw the wide, artificially made platform. On the top of the platform, there was a half-collapsed building. It looked extremely similar to the temples in the City of Silver. It had a dome propped up by pillars, creating an arched entrance. The style of buildings here was completely different than that of other buildings. It really is true that they later converted to the fallen creator. The thoughts that barely crossed Derek's mind when the 4 lanterns in the team went out at the same time. Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ, you guys weren't kidding. This is gonna be dark, eh? All of a sudden, the exploratory team was plunged into pure darkness. There was no lightning in the sky. The candles on the grounds had extinguished, and all human breathing seemed to disappear at once. Derek's body immediately tensed, and he felt as if some monster had stuck its tongue out in the darkness and was trying to lick his scalp, but his spiritual perception told him nothing real had happened. At that moment, an immature, helpless, terrified, dry voice sounded in his ears. A child whispering, "Save me." For a moment, Derek froze, not knowing how to react, but in an instant, a coruscating glimmer of dust appeared before him. The dust exploded one after another, igniting a silvery white light that illuminated the area. Colin stared at Derek. "What's on your mind?" Derek instantly snapped back to his senses and clasped his hands in shame and pressed them to his mouth as if in prayer. His body immediately emitted rays of clean, pure light, causing the surrounding darkness to silently disperse. The other team members seized the moment to reignite the candles. Because of the demon hunter's timely reaction, no members disappeared this time. Colin retraced his gaze from Derek and looked at the half-collapsed temple and said, "From now on, we can't afford to be careless. We have to be on full alert." 4:55. Not what I intended to do. Okay, 3. Okay, yeah, we're right on schedule. Man, a little son's life sure is fucking dark. Jesus. Okay. Within the half-collapsed, wait. If my theory is right, little son couldn't become sequence 0 even if he wanted to, because EBS exists, eh? If my theory is right, obviously. Within the half-collapsed temple, only a few stone pillars remained intact as they collectively supported half of the main hall. Bros in a Souls game world? Dude, unironically, this shit is so fucked. He's unironically in Bloodborne. Like, this is just a mess. Just kill God? Right. My bad. I didn't think of that. I'm sorry. At the very front of the main hall, there was an altar covered in cracks. In the middle of the altar, there was a huge pitch-black cross. They can ask another god to kill EBS? Right, yeah. To be like, hey, can you kill a god so that I can wait for like 50 years for there to be 2 other sequence 1s of the same pathway? And then I will kill both of them, and then I will become the god that replaces the god you killed, but this time we'll be friends. That's a great pitch. Hanging from the cross was a naked man hanging upside down. Around his ankles, thighs, and torso there was rusty metal spikes protruding outwards that were accompanied by bright red bloodstains. You don't really need other sequence 1s, just characteristics. Where the fuck do you get those characteristics from, Nightwalker? Derek knew that this was the statue of the fallen creator, but he couldn't help but look down. Oh, good lord. Look down to size up the statue's face. You don't need to wait, just take the sequence 1 characteristics from the god's corpse. Don't need... Oh, I see. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that would do it. Oh. See? Derek knew that this was the statue of the fallen creator, but he couldn't help but look down to size up the statue's face. He saw the face, the nose, the mouth, the ears were all blurry, except for the eyes, which were carved with abnormal clarity. The fallen creator's eyes were tightly shut, as though they were suffering from pain and guilt. Look away, you don't study the statue of an evil god, Colin warned. Yes, Your Excellency. But I'm so confused. Hold on. Okay, am I misremembering this? I remember the fallen creator, the true creator, whatever the fuck you want to call him, had he had one big red eye. Now it says his eyes, plural, were shut. How the fuck is that possible? Apotheos? What the actual fuck is that? The highest point of development? Oh. Is it usually a harder show, even if it's not as hard as the Black Emperor? The statue has different variations. Okay. Interesting. I just take that at face value. Statues can be different from the whole thing. Different statues, different times. I don't like that. The plot thickens. Before today, although the City of Silver had discovered many destroyed cities and written records pointing to the evil gods during their exploration, most residents had never seen the statues. The remaining area of the temple wasn't very wide, so the exploratory team quickly split up into groups of 2 or 3 and completed the investigation without finding anything abnormal. Upon seeing this, Colin deliberated, "Let's head underground." As he spoke, he drew one of the 2 swords on his back and smeared it with a grayish-silver ointment. Then he removed a small metal bottle from a hidden compartment on his belt, pulling out the stopper, and gulped down the contents of his potion. Dude, he's unironically just a fucking witcher. He put on oil that's for a specific breed of monsters to get a 50% damage increase, and then just drink like a regeneration potion. At this moment, Derek felt as if the light blue eyes of the chief had become a little brighter. The members of the exploratory team made their utmost careful preparation. Under the illumination of the 4 animal hide lanterns, they followed the stairs on the left of the statue as they went down to the underground area. Derek took his turn holding the lantern, walked at the front left as he cautiously entered the darkness. He heard the sound of his own footsteps and those of his companions echoing off the stone steps. They produced a distant, empty echo. The echoes didn't suffer from any interference, making the absolute silence beneath them obvious. However, in the hearts of the exploratory team members, it was like a knock on the door. The attempt to uncover a secret had been buried for an unknown number of years, which left them feeling extremely tense. After walking without any sense of time, Derek finally saw that the road ahead had been turned flat. He also saw that the newly discovered mural, which the corrupted dark regions had mentioned, the mural was spread across 2 sides of the wall. It was simply colored and gloomy, looking ancient as if it had the vicissitudes of life. Derek took a casual glance and immediately was attracted by one of the murals. On the wall to the left up ahead, a pure white cross was depicted in the middle. It was surrounded by sea water-like blackness, drowning all of the humans who were struggling as they stretched out their hands. Hanging upside down from the cross was the fallen creator. The rusted nails and the red bloodstains were no different from the statues of the outside world. But in this mural, the fallen creator was suffering from a black erosion. So much so that everyone on the white of the cross had become pitch black. In addition, the cross supported a hazy piece of land, and countless humans were kneeling and praying to the fallen creator. The fallen creator was suffering from black erosion, so much so that part of the white had become pitch black. Why does this entire thing make me think of the City of Silver? Do you know what I'm talking about? No, hold on. Let's do this. Suffering from black erosion. This makes me think like a land without sun, sitting in complete darkness. The black-haired, the black-faced grass that grows here. Cross supported a hazy piece of land. Hazy piece of land. Hazy meaning like difficult to see, like the City of Silver, which can't be found by other people, at least externally seems so far. Countless humans kneeling and praying to the fallen creator, them praying like, hey, my Lord, you haven't forsaken us, we pray for you to come back to us. Interesting. Nope, wrong one. Around the mural, in the deepest part of the darkness, there were 6 figures akin to evil gods. In the upper left corner was a woman wearing a black classical robe. Her clothes were layered but not complicated, as though it was embedded with a starry sheen. Her body was relatively ethereal, with signs of rippling outwards. Her face was blurry, as though she was wearing a mask without any facial features. The darkness around her surged as one strange eye after another faintly became discernible. That feels like Evernight to me. The darkness, the plot chickens, yes. In the upper left corner, nope, already read that. Directly above was a young man wearing a pure white robe. His face was painted with a pure gold color, and there were tentacles in the form of light growing out of his skin. In his hands was a putrid green book and a radiant spear, and his chest and back were inverted. That makes me think, I guess EBS, maybe ASG, I don't know. The pure gold color obviously makes me think sun, so that's what I'm thinking. In the upper right corner was a trident-wielding monster with an octopus-like head, wide eyes, and a body wrapped in lightning, Lord of Storm. The feathers of countless birds formed his cloak, and the darkness turned into waves that supported the bottom of his feet. At the bottom right was a supple, beautiful woman. Her chest bulged, propping up her clothes. In her arms was a rotting baby. At her feet were black ears of wheat, spring water squirming with flesh, herbs dripping with pus, and wildly mating animals. The Earth Mother? What the fuck was it? What the fuck was her name? Sorry, let me just pull up my notes really quickly. Yes, hold on. She wore a, wait, hold on. Hold on, I think I got something. Hold on. Where's everyone else? Don't tell me I didn't take down their don't tell me I didn't take down their statues. I'm gonna be so mad. Oh, I'm gonna be so mad. Fuck, I don't think I wrote it down. Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm sorry, I'm trying to contrast them with the statues we saw earlier from the Tudor Empire. In the basement, right? Hold on. Fuck. Don't tell me I didn't write them down. I'm so stupid. Hold on. Hold on. Right? So, a woman wearing a classical dress, clothes layered but not complicated. Her body was relatively ethereal. Her face was blurry. What I have of the Evernight was, extremely beautiful lady with a hazy face. Have that in there. Right hand. She sported a layered black classical dress, not overly complex. Like, it's literally a 1-to-1. There are a statue of radiating rays at the bottom of her head. Statue of the Evernight. Fuck. Okay. Fuck. Why don't I have the other ones? Oh, I'm so fucking stupid. Oh, I'm stupid and small. No. Whatever. I don't have anything for EBS. I don't care. I don't have anything for Lord of Storm either. Fine. Whatever. Bottom right was a supple, beautiful woman. Her chest bulged. A simple drawing of a baby surrounded by the symbols of wheat, flour, and spring water. I don't have all of it, but like baby, wheat, spring water, and what the fuck was the last one? Flowers. Herbs. It's kind of the same thing. So, okay, they're literally a 1-to-1. So the gods that existed here and there are the same. And that was the hold on, that was the Tudor? Where the fuck were those from? He guessed, and then Solomon Tudor, what about? There's an emblem. Yeah, this is the Tudor family empire. Okay, emblem. So the Tudor family had all this bullshit. Interesting. The plot thickens. Directly below was an old man wearing a hood that revealed his mouth, wrinkles, and white beard. The old man held open a book, and on top of it was an eye that was the symbol of omniscience, the god of knowledge. Knowledge? Whatever the fuck. That was his thing, right? Yeah, god of knowledge. Okay. At first glance, this old man looked the most normal, but the smile on his face was indiscernibly evil. At the bottom left was a giant warrior in tattered armor, the god of combat, Ormir. Armir? He held a long sword and was sitting on a throne with bleak dusk as its backdrop. With this... Fuck. Okay, hold on. I'm just... Someone's... Okay, hold on. So, statue. Sorry, I just need to put this in my notes. Derek found statues in the city of Silver that Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to copy paste all that bullshit again, but like as long as do you now feel that they're not statues? Oh, murals. Was it a mural? Yes. Sorry. Derek found a mural in the city of Silver that matches almost exactly to the statues found by Klein, whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I've been saying this for a while, Romero. What it feels like is, and this is like a really good thing because it's hard as fuck to do, is it feels like the world has existed for a long time and it's all working, and our MC is like a small cog in a giant machine. What you never want in almost never, in a piece of literature or piece of media that you're consuming, you don't want it to feel like the world is static and then the main character is like the only one moving and everyone else is stationary. It doesn't feel like, it feels like everyone is like going about their own thing, which is dope as fuck. Like, I love these POV switches when we get to see from Audrey's point of view, or Sons or Alders. We haven't gotten to see much from Alders yet, but like, I hope, one can hope, you know. Okay. What this mural means is that when the cataclysm struck, the evil gods climbed out of the abyss in order to save the people of the world. The fallen creator had suffered the vast majority of the sins and pain, and as a result showed signs of being corrupted and having his image change. But I think he is the worst evil god. Carrying an animal hide lantern in his hand, Derek looked at the mural on the wall as he walked. He realized that the description was identical to Dark Regence's description, with the core theme being that the place where they were had not been abandoned by the gods. Instead, it was blessed by the creator and had maintained civilization through the apocalypse. Zaza, how's it going, man? Of course, Dark Regents only mention it briefly, and the details were far from what the murals depicted. Throughout the entire process, Derek didn't dare let his guard down. He prepared himself in case of accidents. Under the dim yellow light of the candle, the exploratory team went through many corridors, halls, and rooms one by one. Suddenly, a semi-open grey stone door appeared in front of them. Outside the door, a cluster of beautiful mushroom-shaped objects grew. They were palm-sized with white stems and bright red heads. Ah, fuck. Okay. These fucking things. Upon seeing these mushrooms, the members of the exploratory teams had their appetites whet. All they wanted to do was rush over, pull out a stalk, and stuff it into their mouth. Quite a few people swallowed their saliva. However, most of the people who were able to enter the team had rich experiences and were of relatively high sequences. Having received warnings beforehand, someone immediately stood up and said, "Those are rotten flesh and hairy scalps." Derek knew this teammate and knew that his name was Joshua. He had successfully traded for a mystical item for a particular exploratory expedition. Joshua stretched out his left scarlet-gloved hand at the door. He's wearing a red glove. With a flash of light, a burning fireball quickly took shape and shot out, landing directly on those tempting mushrooms. The ground slightly trembled and an inferno spread out to cover the space of 2 meters. By the time the fire subsided, all the mushrooms had disappeared, leaving behind only bits and pieces of flesh and blood. Demon Hunter Colin didn't interfere. He watched quietly from the sides. Why would there be mushrooms made from flesh and hair? Where did the flesh and hair come from? Joshua withdrew his left palm and muttered to himself in confusion. Another member made a guess. The original inhabitants of the city? Oh, that's good. 10 a.m. It's 1 a.m. here. It's possible. Perhaps their deaths were as a result of turning into pure flesh and hair. After a brief discussion, the team split into several groups and cleaned up the hall outside the great stone door. After doing this, they regrouped and slowly passed through the door, ready to engage in combat. Behind the door was what looked like an altar. The surrounding light could hardly dispel the darkness of the region, which seemed to hide something unknown. Above the altar, a similar pitch-black cross and the upside-down creator was erected. Carrying the animal hide lantern, Klein stood closest and instinctively swept a glance. His gaze suddenly froze because he discovered that the fallen creator statue here was different from the outside. Its eyes were open. It had blood-red eyes and black pupils, staring straight at any intruders like it possessed life. Derek heard the chattering of teeth. Jesus. It is 1 a.m. for me too, Devil. If you're getting sleepy, go to bed, man. Like I said, you guys have already all read this. If you miss it, you know what happens. He originally imagined that it came from a team member, but he soon realized that it was him. Although he didn't understand much about the evil god's danger, his teeth were instinctively chattering at that moment. His teammates reacted similarly. At that moment, a speck of powder floated into the air. Colin clenched his fist. As the sound of thunder reverberated through the air, Derek and the others snapped to their senses, escaping the nightmare state from before. Before they could investigate, the sound of weeping could be heard from the altar. In a chilling silence, Colin calmly ordered Derek, Joshua, go around and take a look. As a chill went through his body, Derek held the animal hide lantern and the axe of Hurricane in his hands. Together with Joshua, he walked around to the back of the altar. As the darkness was gradually dispersed, they saw a black figure curled up in the corner. It was a 7 or 8-year-old child with soft yellow hair. He closed his eyes, as though he wasn't used to the light, as he shouted in excitement, "Save me! Save me!" Derek's pupil shrank. When he thought of the cry for help he had heard in the pure darkness earlier, he subconsciously lifted his axe of Hurricane. At this moment, Demon Hunter Colin took a step forward and asked, "Who are you?" The child stopped pleading for help and reminiscently said, "My name is Jack." When I read golden hair, I was thinking Adam, but fucking not, I guess. You remember Jack? No, I don't fucking remember Jack. Who the fuck is this guy? After dinner, Klein put on his coat and hat in preparation to head out. Thank God. Let me turn off this fucking eerie music. It's creeping me the fuck out. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna... okay. After dinner, Klein put on his coat and hat in preparation to head out. He was gonna find Miss Sharon, resolve the problem of the baronet digging up the tunnel, and ask for clues about mermaids. He was gonna complete these matters before Sherlock had to head south for a vacation. Okay, hold on. If someone can remind me who the fuck Jack is, put it in chat. I'm gonna run to the washroom really quickly. Give me 2 seconds. I have to piss so bad, Jesus. Okay, hold on. Okay. Father and son Jack were on a ship talking about going to God's realm. This is chapter 53. 53? That was pre my first stream. My first stream was like chapter 57 or some bullshit. What the fuck is with these callbacks, man? Come on, you gotta give me some... But, okay, so from what I'm gathering from that, is that there is a path on ship without going through the abyss or whatever in to the City of Silver. There is a way to get there. Zack was on a ship with his dad. They were looking for the Creator's Holy Land. His dad was a listener and kept translating the true Creator's words for Jack. Alger was in pursuit of them. You gotta pick up your game. They foreshadowed this like 400. I'm sorry. I didn't know I'd have to fucking have a sequence 9 potion to keep my fucking recollection strong enough for this bullshit. What the fuck? Lord, forgive me for my sins type bullshit. Like, goddamn. Gotta remember everything in this bitch? You're lucky Seer Potion has a memory. Dude, I feel like my memory is pretty good. Apparently not good enough for this shit. What the fuck? Romero, I get it, man. But come on. Calling back to something 400 chapters ago? You are taking the fucking piss. That hardly seems fair. Come on. Show a guy some mercy here. What are we doing? Outside the Braveheart bar, a rental carriage drove by. Inside the carriage, Klein, who was wearing a top hat, sat opposite to Sharon. Looking at the expressionless and pale face of his former bodyguard, Klein was at a loss. He could only get straight to the point. I'm done with my preparations. Although Sequence 6 Faceless had only given him one Beyonder ability, all the powers he had experienced before had experienced a clear upgrade, resulting in great improvement to his strength. That was the best form of preparation. Wait, hold on. Cuttlefish wrote 2 chapters a day? What? Bro, how much... Was this man on meth? What? This man is... He's off his fucking rocker. You are kidding. 2 chapters of this a day? However, a Faceless's power could only be deemed a godly skill in certain situations. For example, when being pursued or trying to infiltrate. Sharon listened quietly and said, "Tonight? If it's fine with you, then I'm fine as well." Alright, Sharon nodded. And sometimes more, if there was a cliffhanger, he did take breaks. Yeah, of course. God, I hope he took breaks. Jesus Christ. After a few seconds of silence, Klein asked in deliberation, "Have you heard about anything to do with mermaids? Do you know where one can meet such a creature of legend?" Sharon's eyes stared unblinkingly at Klein. After a while, she said emotionlessly, "There are no longer mermaids in places where humans can reach. Only the fishermen of the Gargus Islands would occasionally hear the mermaids singing in the midst of a storm, during their long voyages to hunt white-tailed whales." Located in the depths of the Sonia Sea, the Gargus Islands are the furthest human colony at sea, characterized by local products such as whale oil and whale meat. I wonder if this rumor is true or fake. I understand. Sanji would like to know the location of the mermaids. True! He would have much preferred to spend the entire fucking time skip with them. He got the shit end of that stick. Man. I'm thankful for my genes. I didn't go bald right in this shit. The bell chimes in the night rang out quietly, as though they were coming from a faraway place. There was an abandoned chapel in the middle of William Street. Withered vines crawled up over its wall and grey stones were strewn everywhere. Inside the chapel, feces and debris intertwined amidst the rocks and dead grass. In the half-collapsed corner, a middle-aged man wearing black tights was moving stones that hid the entrance to a cave. He carefully and excitedly went into the tunnel, carrying his digging tools, lighting tools, and earth basket. His hair was grey at the temples, and his eyes were puffy. He was Baronet Rafter Pound. He was considered mentally ill by the outside world, but was secretly a descendant of the Tudor family of the Fourth Epoch. This prodigy, who had always entangled with high-class call girls, had a serious expression on his face, and his eyes were bright. It was impossible to find any sign of him being addicted to drinking or sex. He pushed himself up on his elbows and rapidly crawled down the slope, as though the end of the tunnel hid the greatest and only hope of his life. Finally, my mission is here. I should leave. Alright, thanks for popping by, Dr. Z. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Not long after, he touched the wet mud and cold stone in front of him. That didn't extinguish Rafter Pound's enthusiasm. He repeated motions that were extremely proficient with after having recently gained the experience. What experience? I'm so confused. As he was digging, carrying and moving things, an empty area appeared before him. It was a dark underground palace. Rafter Pound's expression immediately became crazed with excitement. He moved forward quickly and grabbed the black iron badge. The badge was a hand holding a scepter. Seeing this, Rafter Pound's eyes lit up like they were on fire. Just as he put the black iron badge on his chest, everything in front of him shattered. He was still in the narrow and irregular tunnel, with wet mud and ice-cold stones in front of him. No, there was someone else who was quietly watching. He had no eyes, no nose, no mouth, no eyebrows, and no ears. Oh, he's so fucking dead, eh? Rafter Pound's pupils contracted. He could only feel a numbness rising along his spine from the waist down to the back of his head. Without even thinking, he immediately threw down all of his tools and frantically retreated. His elbows smacked the ground, but he felt no pain despite having a mangled wound. Finally, Rafter Pound left the tunnel and returned to the abandoned chapel. Because of the loss of his lantern, he could only see the deep darkness and dim crimson that shrouded the edges. Suddenly, the withered vines were crawling up. The wall swayed with snakes. A figure walked out of the darkness. She was wearing a gothic regal dress and a small black soft hat with a pale face. Rafter Pound almost shouted out loud, for such a woman to appear in such an environment was no different than a ghost story. He took a few steps back and almost tripped over a rock. Are you the evil spirit from that underground palace? Yes, it must be you. Sir Pound, there seems to be a misunderstanding. Faceless Klein came out of the tunnel and stood in the shadows. His and Sharon's original plan had been to scare Rafter Pound off, scaring him so badly that he would no longer dare explore. However, Rafter's reaction was beyond their expectations. What do you want to say? Rafter Pound quietly exhaled. After attempting for so many years, I believe you already understand that killing the descendants of the Tudor won't help you break the seal. Only by working with me, who has the great Tudor bloodline, can you hope to get out of this predicament that has lasted for more than 2,000 years. The Tudors knew about the existence of the evil spirit and they still died in there? What took you until today to come here? That was a branch of the Faceless beyond our power, to mimic the sound of a target. He could reproduce any voice as long as he had heard it before. Of course, Klein believed he could repeat the ravings of the true creator and pleas of Mr. Door. This beyond our power was still limited to the realm of ordinary people. Sharon looked sideways at him but didn't expose him. It's because the Black Emperor has appeared, Rafter Pound chuckled. Fate tells me that the glory of the Blood Emperor will appear once again. Is there some logical connection here? He asked in Sharon's voice again. Black Emperor? Yes. Hero Bandit Black Emperor. He must be closely related to the real Black Emperor. Why don't I know that? Klein felt truly amused. He thought for a moment, then stopped asking, giving up the right to ask questions. Upon seeing this, Rafter Pound was overjoyed, so he asked, "So, what is your answer?" "I refuse," Sharon answered emotionlessly. Rafter suppressed his anxiety and tried to persuade her again. At this moment, his eyes suddenly glazed over as he abruptly took a few steps to the side, arriving at a relatively intact stone wall. Klein and Sharon noticed an abnormality at the same time. They responded in their own ways, one pulling out a revolver and pointing at a Rafter Pound, the other filling the ruined chapel with a crimson lunar brilliance. Rafter Pound didn't even look at them. He faced the stone wall and slammed his head into it. He's gone stark raving out of his fucking mind mad. He slammed his head 3 times in a row and fainted with blood dripping from his forehead. Then he got up again. His eyes were bloodshot for some unknown reason. Rafter Pound raised his right hand and wiped the blood from his forehead, covering his palm with blood. A member of the Tudor bloodline. Sure is delicious. It really is intoxicating. It allows my loathing to exceed its limits to its greatest extent, and it will help me temporarily expand the boundaries of this seal. The evil spirit in the ruins? Klein asked in a stunned tone. You guessed right. Before I judged that you were weak and wanted to corrupt your mind and enter the dreams to tempt you into rescuing me. Who knows? You're also a person with a secret. I don't know, he's becoming more and more Morty with every second that I voice him. This is fucked. Don't be so direct. Klein subconsciously glanced at Sharon. You should do an audition for voice. What do you want to do? Klein asked. I'm an innocent person who was harmed because of Alista Tudor's ambition. Who the fuck is Alista Tudor? This is going in my comments. Hold on. Alista Tudor. Who the fuck? Due to the constraints of my corpse, I've been strained in that underground ruin for nearly 2,000 years. I hope that you can help me out of this predicament and allow me to become a free spirit. I swear I won't involve innocent people. After saying that, he looked at Sharon with his bloodshot eyes. You should be a wraith from the mutant path. Wait, hold on. Oh no, sorry, it's still the guy. Sorry, I have to bro, I don't know, Devil. His voice wasn't originally like this. It got fucked the more and more I voiced him. It's too late now. This is how he ends. You should be a wraith from the mutant pathway. Oh no, so cooked. Oh no. No. The next stop is a critical point to becoming a demigod. I'm not sure if you have the puppet potion formula, but I can help you obtain it. I can even be part of the ritual. This is the reward I can promise you. Puppet. Sequence 4 of the mutant pathway is called Puppet. What a strange name. The evil spirit turned to look at him. You will be similarly rewarded. It is an object that can be considered mystical and precious, and with some sort of... Oh no. It's too late. Oh god, I thought he would have died so much sooner. He keeps talking. He keeps talking. I don't know what to do. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll just go back to regular voice. This is fucked. Yeah. He sounded so okay at the start, and then it got worse and worse because I thought he was going to die soon. And he kept surviving, and he kept talking. No. It is an object that can be considered mystical and precious, but because of some sort of attraction, its holder came to the underground palace and died by the side of the Tudor descendants. This is what it looks like. As he spoke, the evil spirit spread open the palm of his hand, causing a crimson moonlight to form a scene. Oh, yes, puppet sequence 4. Fuck. Okay. Yeah. Wraith. Sequence 4. Okay. Focus on you. Alright. Okay. This is what it looks like. Inside the picture, there was a normal-looking tarot card. The image on it was completely different from the others. Sitting inside the chariot wasn't a king, but a male priest wearing a dark red robe. The priest looked like Roselle Gustave, a card of blasphemy. He saw the starlight in the upper left corner and condensed into a line of text, Sequence 0, Red Priest. Oh my god, he has to get down there. Okay, I don't care what it takes. They have to get down there. Sharon can become a high sequence beyonder. Stick to the lemon grab, boys. It's too late. No, we're back now, Justin. It's back. We're back. We're not doing this again. Ramiro deleted it. Oh, Alyssa Tudor. Yes. Oh, yes, that name too. Alyssa Tudor. Organizations, I guess. Alyssa Tudor. New name of the Tudor family. I was watching your last stream. Ah, thanks for popping by, Thunder. Yes, Alyssa. Yep, you're good. Is image really good? Okay. 4:57. Yeah. Anyone listening to that VOD is gonna have a really good time with that little bit. Listen, either you were gonna love that or you were gonna hate it, okay? There was no in between. Okay. Sequence 0, Red Priest. What pathway sequence is this? I've learned the true name of another sequence. Of course, the pretext is that the evil spirit isn't lying. Red Priest, if I had to... Hold on. Priest. Priest only appears in a couple. So it could either be Solar High Priest, which is fucking low. No, but there's another one, no? No, not that one. Hold on, what pathway could this be? The only thing I see is Priest of Light. Oh, doubt that. I'm thinking the Secret Suppliant pathway. A sequence 0. Ooh. Red Priest. I'm gonna guess it's off the Secret Suppliant pathway. I don't know, but that's because Rose Bishop makes me think very similar to that. Plus, Red Priest can be, I mean, the color red, but it can also be symbolic of like blood and flesh, right? Especially since Wiz is pretty sharp. Aw, you devil, you think I'm sharp? Thanks, buddy. Love you too. This is also the overthinker. Okay. Okay, that's a meaner way to say what devil said, but fine, Ramiro, whatever. I've learned the true name of another sequence 0. Of course, the pretext is that the evil spirit isn't lying. It is said that the holder of the Red Priest card would seek out the underground ruins of the Tudor family due to some form of attraction, but they ended up dying in that room. That should be the law of convergence, right? No, Roselle had apparently mentioned that that after advancing to a high sequence Beyonder, possessing a corresponding card would allow them to subtly sense Beyonder ingredients needed for subsequent sequences. In other words, the room where the evil spirit is sealed has a demigod-ranked characteristic of the Red Priest pathway hidden inside. Perhaps the evil spirit was a demigod of this pathway when it was alive, and it might even be a little stronger. Red Priest sounds like a downgrade from Rose Bishop, not gonna lie. The subtle sensation provided by the card of blasphemy is probably a result of the law of convergence. Klein suddenly thought of many things. He subconsciously turned his head to look at Sharon to see her reaction. By doing so, he could determine if he knew about the card of blasphemy and whether she understood the meaning of a sequence 0. However, there were no changes in Sharon's transparent face. It was as if the evil spirit had just shown her an ordinary card. But this actually implies something. When a Beyonder first comes to learn of sequence 0, they will subconsciously think about what it represents. Only a Beyonder in the spectator pathway can read the subtle body languages of Miss Sharon. Seeing that both of them were silent at the same time, the evil spirit gave Klein a deep glance, slowly making the projection of the card disappear. It once again looked at Sharon with its bloodshot eyes and said in a low and hoarse laugh, "If you are unwilling to become a demigod of the mutant pathway, then I can provide you the sequence 4 pathway of the abyss pathway. The temperance and desire and the flamboyance of malice has always been congruous, isn't it?" Oh. So you're saying that the abyss pathway and the mutant pathway are interchangeable then, assuming this little fuck isn't lying. Then, how can your seal be removed? Oh, hold on. Sorry, let me put that into my notes. Mutant pathway and... Okay. That's in the notes too. My god, we're getting so much exposition in the last couple of streams. This is crazy. Very simple. Find a direct descendant of the Sauron, Einhorn, and Medici family and obtain 10 milliliters of their blood each. A little more is fine, but no less. Then mix it with holy water and pour them into my room. This way the seal will be lifted. It's a very simple and strange method. Even in the field of mysticism, it's rare. Sauron, Einhorn, and Medici. I don't think I've ever heard of the Medici family. Who the fuck is this? Is this in my notes ever? This is not in my notes. Medici? Bro, you guys are so particular. I've never heard of that last one. Sauron is the former royal family of Intis. Einhorn is the royal family of the Faesak Empire. Both of them were loyal to the Truanst Empire, the angel family of the 4th Epoch. And they were the final winners. However, Loans Augustus and Faenapotter's Castilla family also have the same conditions. Oh, right. The Sauron and Einhorn family have one more thing in common. They possess the Hunter pathway. Is this the reason for being for them being chosen? Taking the situation from context, the hunter pathway is equal to the red priest pathway? Oh, I see. So it's the hunter pathway, not the red priest. Okay. Or not the other one. Red priest for the hunter? That's stupid as fuck. I joined to become a hunter and then you make me a priest? Oh, I'm so mad. Okay. As he made a guess, Klein didn't conceal his doubts. Sauron and Einhorn family possess the hunter pathway? Sure. Wait, no, I already have this in my notes. Owned by the rulers of the Faceak Empire, Einhorn family, and the Sauron family. Yeah, already in the notes. Aha. I know about the Sauron and Einhorn family, but I've never heard of the Medici family. I'm gonna keep pronouncing it the way I do, okay? Very normal. They often enjoy hiding in the shadows. They are corrupted angels and have established an extremely secretive organization known as the Rose Redemption. That name is familiar. Oh, that's right. The abandoned temple of the true creator was recently found in the city of Silver. There was something similar written on the corner of the mural, and he suspects it's the name of a city or the creator of the temple. Now, from the looks of it, it symbolizes an extremely secretive organization founded by corrupted angels. They believe in the true creator. It's related to the true creator? Klein asked. The evil spirit was silent for 2 seconds before asking, "You know about Rose Redemption?" "I heard it by chance." You definitely need to add that to notes. Yes. Family. Hold on. Let me just move this over here for a second so that I can just... Such good lore, bro. This fucking book is getting more and more confusing by the second. I feel like I know less and less every second. This is fucked. You have more secrets than I thought, the evil spirit said. Rose Redemption has a close relationship with the birth of the true creator. It's impossible for you to imagine that certain people were members of Rose Redemption, but they have since left it. As long as you find an organization that believes in the true creator and trace it to the end, there you will have a chance of coming into contact with Rose Redemption. Ah. The plot thickens. It sounds a little like the Twilight Hermetic Order. Do you think we can complete something like that with our strengths? The evil spirit was silent for a few seconds before saying, "Maybe you guys can try your luck in Bincy Town." Bincy Town? Where is that? During the Fourth Epoch, were the Black Emperor, Blood Emperor, and Night Emperor fighting for the position of Sequence 0? Klein asked. When the evil spirit heard this, it was stunned for a moment, and it said, "It was once the case, but not later. It wasn't the case after Alista Tudor went mad." Alista Tudor was the Blood Emperor? Klein sought confirmation. Yes, aha. Alista Tudor. Name of the Blood Emperor. Okay, we finally have the name of one of the 4 emperors. I mean, I guess death also, but that hardly counts. Literally nothing is coming together, Justin. Unironically, nothing is coming together. Like, I know significantly less now than I did 3 hours ago when I started stream. Like, I understand nothing. Well, yeah, half crazed blood emperor is already in there, so it's obvious that he went mad. That's fine. Yes, there has always there has only been. Oh wait, actually, I should also add that they were fighting for position 0 or sequence 0. But not. I should add the whole they were fighting for sequence 0 thing. Hold on. I never thought I'd say this, but the plot is getting too thick. It's becoming maple syrup, and I'm starting to drown in it. There has only been one Blood Emperor, that lunatic, Alista Tudor. The descendant of the Tudor family have all inherited the madness of that bloodline. They're unusually crafty, devious, careful, and cautious, but at critical moments, they become reckless and don't consider repercussions. The evil spirit pointed at Rafter Pound's face. He is an example. However, after this lesson, he will definitely become more normal. I have no idea if he's the last Tudor. Alista left quite a number of good things which require the blood of his descendants to gain access to. It's best that you don't kill him now. The evil spirit paused and softly chuckled. Hold on. Okay, I just gotta chuck that whole fucking paragraph into notes too. My fucking god. What is even the point of me reading? Let me just copy paste the entire fucking web novel into my notes and just be like, oh, this is great, I read it. What the fuck? The evil spirit paused and chuckled. Alright, after you help me remove the seal, I will tell you the stories I have experienced. No, a more accurate description is the history I have experienced. Having said that, Rafter's eyes Rafter Pound's eyes suddenly lost focus. His body twitched and before limply falling to the ground. Sharon silently watched the scene before suddenly taking a step. You needed the giant whiteboard? Dude, seriously. Although I don't think it would help, honestly, at this point. It might have helped at the start, but it's too late now. Fuck, I'm going to be streaming for way longer than I thought, because I'm at 57. I have 2 more chapters to go. The wind howled as the dirt and rocks on the ground began to move before falling into the underground tunnel. After that was done, Klein and Sharon left William Street and took a detour to another block. When Klein boarded the rental carriage, Sharon's figure appeared, and she sat across from him. Will you help but lift the seal? She asked. No. What about you? Sharon shook her head, indicating she wouldn't either. It's already been dead for more than 2,000 years, and right now it's just a remnant of an evil spirit. Dispersing it, or returning to the spirit world, is supposed to be its end. My plan is that once we become high sequence beyonders, we can team up and eliminate it, giving it its true deliverance. Although the Red Priest card, the hidden history of the 4th epoch, and the evil spirit's promised rewards were tempting, Klein had no confidence in it at all. I'm waiting for the tinfoil hat? Okay. In his mind, he would always recall the scene of the evil spirit's corpse sitting on the high-backed chair with its head lowered. He would also remember how the other party's face would be covered in traces of decay when he raised his head. Sharon tersely acknowledged, giving the necessary conditions. Aren't you supposed to ask me why I'm so confident in becoming a high-sequence beyonder? And the answer to that question was that people needed to have dreams. Is the Wraith's corresponding sequence 4 really puppet? Klein asked. Sharon nodded. Do you have the potion formula or ingredients? Klein asked in thought. Sharon shook her head. Klein let out a soft chuckle. I'll help you keep an eye out in my circle. Thank you. I'm going to the south for a holiday, Klein muttered to himself. Let me wish you and Merrick a Happy New Year's in advance. Sharon was silent for 2 seconds, then pursed her lips together and replied in a fleeting voice, Happy New Year. Her figure gradually faded and disappeared from the carriage. Alright, we are back to the horrifying fucking... Bro is trying to... In fairness, would anyone really blame him? Given what she looks like? I don't think so. Alright, we're back to the fucking... We're back to the horrifying bullshit of Derek. Alright, let's do this shit. Looking at the terrifying little boy behind the altar and hearing his slight hoarse and tender voice, Derek felt as if he was facing the most terrifying monster. He almost performed a downward cleave with the axe of Hurricane. Derek is right here about to fucking commit infanticide. Infanticide, I think it is? From what he knew, a person who could survive in the pure darkness for so long was certainly not human. Even if one was before, they wouldn't be one after. Demon Hunter Colin's eyes seemed to brighten a little. He tightened his grip on his sword and asked, What are you doing here? The boy, who called himself Jack, replied, We're looking for the holy residence of the Lord. The holy residence of the Lord? Right. They told me that as long as I go in the direction that the Lord's eyes look in, I will be able to find his holy residence. They? You still have companions? Where are they? Hearing this question, the little boy was stunned for a moment. Suddenly, he held out his throat, and with a twisted, blank look, he said, I'm so hungry. So hungry. 458, an ancient sanguine. Ooh. Okay. So hungry. Amidst his trance-like words, Jack raised his head and looked at Joshua. So hungry. He opened his eyes. His mouth opened in an instant, reaching straight towards his ears, revealing his neat white teeth and thick saliva that was constantly gushing out of his mouth. At the same time, he threw himself forward towards Joshua. He was so fast that he left behind an afterimage on the ground. Jesus Christ. Okay. Although Joshua was on high alert, he couldn't react in time. Before he could even make out what happened, the little boy had already pounced in front of him. Yes, I did, Zareth. I thought he was short, okay? In my mind, I thought he was short. The yellow-haired figure seemed to slam into an invisible wall, stopping only a step away from Joshua. Jack suspended himself in midair as a reddish glow from the darkness emerged from his body and started to corrode the transparent barrier that was denying him entry. Bro, I've been seeing black shadows or spots in the corner of my eye. Yeah, that's not good. Please go see a optometrist, I think it is. Behind Joshua and Derek, Colin had already fallen to one knee at some point. He had stabbed his sword, smeared with a silver ointment, into the ground. Soon after, the area around the altar instantly brightened. It was as if the purest ray of the light of dawn. Colin suddenly drew his sword, and the figure strangely split apart, turning into a series of after-images that spread out around the altar. Every single figure raised his sword in their hands, and at the same time, combined with the light of dawn in the vicinity, released a bright glow. One sword after another was thrust as the light of dawn converged towards Jack from all directions, encircling him in the middle. Under the brilliance of the rising sun, the black and red figures quickly evaporated, disappearing from the storm-like barrage of attacks. In the underground hall where the altar was located, the brilliance became abnormally bright, so bright that Derek couldn't help but close his eyes. With a sudden jolt, he suddenly woke up from his slumber and saw a bonfire quickly burning in front of him and his teammates who were diligently guarding the camp. Demon Hunter Colin, who was sitting cross-legged beside the stone pillar, opened his eyes and said in a deep voice, "We will set off after 50 rounds of lightning." Man, they don't have any sense of time here. 50 rounds of lightning. 1,000 heartbeats. This shit is cooked. Upon hearing this, Derek looked up at the sky and saw that the frequency of lightning had increased a lot. Darkness remained the ruler of this land. When he thought of the city he was about to arrive at and the Temple of the Fallen Creator, he couldn't help but feel nervous. Should I have noticed something? Excuse me? Dude, I'm so sleepy. Fuck. Just get okay. Yeah, sure. When he thought of the city he was about to arrive at and the Temple of the Fallen Creator, he couldn't help but feel... Wait! Hold on. Did he say... When he thought of this... When he thought of the city he was about to arrive at and the Temple of the Fallen Creator, he couldn't help but feel nervous. Wait! Did he imagine all that happened? After spending some time calming himself down, Derek quickly ate his food and recovered his combat-ready state. I wonder what will happen in that temple. Holding the axe of Hurricane, he came to the middle of the group. Within the campsite, lanterns were being lit with a thin layer of animal hide were being lit one after another. Hold on. Is Amon here? Because we suspect that Amon can do some mindfucky time power bullshit, right? Is that what this is? What the fuck? Hold on. Is he had the same problem? What a coincidence. Yes, sir. I'm sleepy as fuck. Okay. I should have caught that, but I read when he thought about the city he was about to arrive at, I thought he was referring to the city of Silver. What the fuck? Keep reading. Okay. Answer my questions, you little fucks. 15 Minsk Street. Klein heated the water, adjusted the temperature, and took a comfortable bath. With the languidness of the bath, he went above the grey fog, intending to use divination to confirm the evil spirit's matter. In the silence of the ancient palace, Klein leaned back in his chair and began to consider which divination method to use. It had to conform to the principles of mysticism and shouldn't involve subdivision or elimination. After a period of silence, Klein leaned forward and wrote down what he wanted to confirm. The evil spirit in the ruins harbors strong malice towards Sharon and me. He undid the pendulum and gripped it with his hand and entered cogitation. The topaz pendant was spinning wildly clockwise. That meant that the evil spirit's malice was stronger than Klein had imagined. Oh, yeah. Silly. Good lord. At that time, there was nothing abnormal about the intuition we had. The evil spirit is a powerhouse that's good at interfering with divination and prophecy. He definitely wouldn't have imagined that one of us has the temperance to resist desire, preventing her from being blinded by greed, while the other has experienced too many things to know what it means to ask a tiger for its skin. Klein returned to the real world and laid down on his bed. Unfortunately, the heat brought about by the sun brooch is only a psychological feeling and can't warm the bed. Before he fell asleep, he closed his eyes and thought with regret. Definitely shouldn't let bro... No, they've got to wait until they're both high sequence beyonders and then go and cook that spirit, because that thing will kill them. Or get them killed somehow. South of the bridge, Rose Street. After Emlyn White wiped the last chair, he straightened up and eagerly said to Father Utravsky, "I'm finished with today's chores." "Damn it, old man, don't suddenly get ideas of getting me to copy the Holy Bible." Father Utravsky stood there and smiled. "Recently, you've been able to experience the joy and relaxation of working with the dedication and gratitude. Go back and quietly feel the pulse of life and pure joy that comes from it." "I haven't," Emlyn denied on reflex. "Yes, username. We still have about a chapter and a half to go. It's been slower than normal today because so much is happening." 7, 8. Yeah, don't remind me, username. I can't even. Okay. Without saying anything, Father Utravsky looked at him with a kind smile, turned and took a seat, and then began his nightly prayer. Emlyn White's lips quivered as he wanted to refute, but in the end he failed to say anything. When he returned to his current residence, he found that his house was empty and that both his parents had disappeared without a trace. It was only after witnessing the scene that he remembered that there was going to be a sanguine gathering in the Backland area tonight. "It's 2 a.m. for me. Those fellows are really disgraceful. As a noble sanguine, they should sleep in coffins or stay in their own rooms. Why are they mimicking humans and holding all kinds of gatherings? There's even dancing." As he spoke, he touched his belly and swallowed a mouthful of saliva before deciding to change into some clothes and attend the gathering. He's such a hypocrite. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're all hypocrites, but 2 a.m., very reasonable. Yeah, fuck you. Just shut the fuck up. The Adora family sure is enviable. They actually have a pure human partner who runs several hospitals and has fresh blood every day. It has been 3 hours, Justin. They actually have a pure human partner who runs several hospitals and has fresh blood every day. They can drink as much as they want, anytime they want. Just put the chapter in the bush. Zaza, you shut the fuck up. Westboro in a brightly lit villa. Emlyn picked up a glass with a scarlet liquid and hungrily took a gulp of it. It really has been pre-selected. He closed his eyes and praised it from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, on the dance floor, men and women were dancing. What's the point of all this? Emlyn stood there. As the largest city in the world, Backland had many vampires in it, all hidden in all walks of life, completely integrated. As for those who were unable to control their own desires and bloodlust, they were either sent to the castles deep in the mountains or dealt with in advance. As he looked at his fellow kinsmen, he was growing more spirited as the night went on. Emlyn increasingly felt like there was nothing in common between him and them. At that moment, the host of the banquet, Cosme Odora, walked over with a wine cup in hand and asked, "Do you like tonight's wine?" Of course, its owner is young enough and possessed great vitality. Emlyn straightened his back and assumed a noble posture. Bro has no friends. Okay, I can't judge him for that, okay? I didn't for the longest time, too. Based on appearances, Cosme Adora was a gracious middle-aged gentleman, but Emlyn knew that he was over 200 years old. That's crazy. Just released, if you want to do that. Oh, no, fuck that username. I will do that at the start of tomorrow, bro. I can't. I like, part of me wants to leave it at 4:58. I'm so sleepy. But then I know that just makes tomorrow's longer. So I won't. He had once seen Intes under the rule of Emperor Roselle, and then he moved alone because he had lived for too long and feared that his neighbors would discover something was wrong with him. Yes, its owner is a young lady who was stabbed by a thief and nearly lost her life. Fortunately, she met me, and this is the price she pays for her recovery. You can have a taste of the wine over there, as well as the wine over there. The owners are from Balam and Fainapotter, respectively. Mother Goddess, the humans there love chili so much that their blood has a spiciness I can't stand. Okay. The corners of Cosme's mouth twitched, and he pretended not to hear anything. Emlyn, that's just your imagination. By the way, my grandfather wishes to visit you. Your grandfather? Emlyn was startled for a moment. Lord Nibs? Lord Nibs? Nibs, what the fuck? Devil! Why did you time out username? What the fuck? Lord Nipples. Yes, Cosme nodded. With that, he turned around and walked to another staircase on the second floor. Not considering the possibility that Emlyn might refuse him, Emlyn followed, a little nervous and uneasy, thinking about the purpose of Lord Nib's summon. Has he finally understood the horror of that sanguine is more important and has decided to help me get rid of Father Utravsky's psychological cue? Following the stairs to the underground area, Emlyn passed through a few secret doors and entered a large grey hallway. Abuse of power. Listen, in fairness, Devil, that kind of was abuse of power, okay? And entered a large grey hall. In the center of the hall was a heavy coffin made of black iron. Emlyn White, do you know why I summoned you? Honorable Lord Nibs, I imagine that you are planning to help me remove the psychological cue, Emlyn responded. That's one of the purposes, but it won't be me helping you. I just awoke from a long dream because I received a revelation from the ancestor. Ancestor? She has awakened? It wasn't Emlyn who exclaimed in surprise, but Cosme Adora. After the cataclysm, doesn't the ancestor only respond to important matters? No, not yet. The ancestor told me the apocalypse is near and we must prepare for it, and you, Emlyn White, are one of the key elements in the ancestor's revelation. Apocalypse? Cosme added. But Emlyn only had one thought. I was mentioned by the ancestor? I am a key element for the sanguine survival? Emlyn White, I'll hand you a task right now. Please speak. Lord Nibs solemnly said, find a chance to pray to the fool. Huh? Nibs lowered his voice and said, the fool whose honorific name has been spread only recently. Bro, what? Oh my god. Milosh, if this theory turns out right, you better take back what I said about me being a seer. You understand me? If this turns out true, you can't dare say that I shouldn't be a seer. If I called Emlyn White too, that'd be fucking nuts. My god, at this point, is there even any purpose to me reading the story? Let me just guess all of it. What do you think the apocalypse almost everyone is mentioning will be like? Bro, I don't fucking know. An evil god comes back and is trying to kill humanity or some shit? I don't fucking know. Like someone reaches, oh my god, what if the apocalypse is someone becomes the Black Emperor, sequence 0, like I guessed with the whole fucking people being kidnapped shit that I guessed. Someone is trying to become the Black Emperor and trying to take over the entire world as his kingdom and do some oppressive bullshit or something. I don't fucking know. That's my guess. I don't know. Wasn't this the man saying last chapter that he understands nothing? That was a mere husk of myself, Ramiro. That my true power was hidden underneath all my sleepiness. But now, the sleepiness has waned. Oh, God. There are other gods to jump on him, then? Nah. I'd win. The Black Emperor. Nah, the Black Emperor would solo. The true villain was the lawyer all along. See, what would happen is the 7 Orthodox gods would sue the lawyer, but the lawyer would have a unbelievable understanding of the intricacies of the law and would win the lawsuit and countersue all the other 7 gods into bankruptcy, and then they would just die of shame, and then he's now the one who stands above all. Checkmate. Who is the judge, you're asking? Good question. I don't know. Klein is the judge. I don't know. I'm just saying shit at this point. I'm sleep deprived. I'm so sleepy. Although I have always had the urge to pray to the fool to get rid of the psychological cue, I also know very well that it's dangerous. In such matters, they are often like sharks in the sea who would go mad and lurch forward once they smell blood. Absolute cinema, Justin. You're absolutely right. But now, Lord Nibs, what does the ancestor want? Emlyn said it will be very, very, very dangerous. Yes, under normal circumstances, but not all hidden existences are filled with malice. Among them, they will similarly abide to rules and enjoy transactions. For example, the 7 pure lights of the spirit world. Since the ancestor has given such a revelation, it means that the danger the fool can bring is not too serious, or even none. If you're sleep deprived, then what about us? Haven't slept for more than 24... Why the fuck have you not slept for more than 24 hours? What are you talking about? And during this process, I will always be by your side to protect you. Don't you want to get rid of the psychological cue? Haven't you already become a believer of the Earth Mother and abandoned our moon? No, I haven't. Why? Streaming it? Wait, what? Although I guess between me and Easy, we did stream for like 9 hours today. That's rough. Okay. Would it work for you guys if we just did one stream tomorrow and one stream the day after, and then complete volume 2 by the end of... and then complete volume 2 by the end of not tomorrow, but the day after? What about that? Can we do that? If that works better for you guys? After a few moments of silence, he gritted his teeth. I wish a few days to think it over. Alright, no problem. I believe that you will make a choice that suits your noble identity as a sanguine. After sending Emlyn White back to the second floor, Cosmiadora once again returned to the dark and gloomy underground hall and asked in confusion, Grandfather, how could the revelation given by the ancestor involve Emlyn White? He's just a weak member of the sanguine who only recently reached adulthood. No. The revelation provided by the ancestor never included Emlyn White. She only showed a scene of the dawn of the apocalypse, depicting erosion of the crimson moon, as well as the mentioning of the fool. During this process, no sanguine appeared. The mention of the key element was just my way of convincing Emlyn White. However, being able to take risks for the future of the Sanguine must also be considered a key element. So why did you choose him? What's so special about him? Hasn't he been clamoring about praying to the Fool all this time? Didn't he think that we were putting too much weight on his problem? That we weren't willing to antagonize the bishop? So he was trying to find other help? I'm just fulfilling his wish. God, what a dickhead. For a long time, Cosme was speechless. Emlyn stood at the railing of the second floor, looked at his tireless kinsman. Up to this day, I haven't heard of any terrible outcome for the people who pray to the Fool. Perhaps it's like he said, he's like the seven pure light in the spirit world. Wait, what are they? Why haven't I heard of them? Maybe I can take this opportunity to get rid of the psychological cue. Monday morning, 15 Minsk Street. The Chosen One? No, he's like the Walmart Chosen One. He's like if Anakin didn't actually have a high midichlorian count and wasn't born of the Force, but he was just a regular guy, and Qui-Gon Jinn was just like, fuck, I told people that I really believe in this prophecy and they're gonna start thinking I'm a loser if I don't find someone soon. You know, kid, you're special. You're really special. And he like gaslit him into believing it. Klein squatted in front of the toilet, holding a brush and carefully cleaning the dirt inside. According to his schedule, after completing his visits on Saturday, you are my special. After completing his visits on Saturday and Sunday, he decided to take a day off and wait until tomorrow to report back to the prince. It was only when he saw this that he remembered the cleaning of the house had been done twice a week through the temporary employment of the landlady's maid. As the Samers had gone for a holiday, one of the maids had gone with them, while the other had returned to the countryside. Where he lived hadn't been cleaned by anyone for quite some time. Klein had planned to put up with it for 2 days since he was leaving Backland. But in his free time, he didn't dare take the time to head to the Quelaag Club to have fun. He was afraid of infuriating the prince, so he could only stay home. He went on to scrub the toilet, wash the bathtub, wipe the windows. Of course, he only did it perfunctorily without that much detail. Sometimes renting too big a house isn't a good thing. I'll see you in 30 minutes. I'm scared. Was that a threat? I don't understand, Justin. What was that? Walking out of the bathroom and looking at the clean and tidy living and dining room and watching the sunlight pierce through the clouds, he had a strange sense of accomplishment. Never seen Isekai MC clean their toilets? Hey, you know what? When you make the world real, you make it real, okay? Time to reward myself with lunch. As he leafed through the papers waiting for lunchtime, the doorbell rang. It's almost the new year. Who's coming to me and trusting me with missions? As he rose and walked to the door, Klein made up his mind to decline. Although he only had 34 pounds in cash left, in order to get out of the royal strife, he had to go on vacation to the south as soon as possible. He couldn't accept assignments. But to his surprise, it wasn't a stranger, but the butler of the prince. Detective Moriarty, His Highness is waiting for you. He wishes to know the progress of your investigation. So impatient? Alright, that saves me the trouble of going all the way back up tomorrow. Okay. He was about to remove his hat when he felt a sudden ache in his stomach, a pain that required him to visit the toilet. He apologized to the old butler. I'm very sorry, I need to use the restroom first. My stomach isn't feeling well. The old butler didn't show any abnormal reactions. That's your freedom, he said. It was the butler. It's always the butler. Klein washed his hands and returned to the hall. At that moment, he noticed that the butler was no longer around. The one waiting was the maid with the curly brown hair. His Highness requested me to apologize. He still has matters to attend to and can't wait for too long. Please go to the Red Rose tomorrow or the afternoon of the day after. It hasn't even been 10 minutes. What the fuck? No problem. After receiving a response, the maid who had completed her mission felt a weight off her chest. She giggled and said, Detective Moriarty, you missed that lady again. This time, the young lady came with His Highness. She was the one who suggested taking a detour to meet you. I missed her because of my stomach ache? Something isn't right. In a room padded with a thick and soft carpet. Wait, Kami told me to switch songs at this point. Hold on. What did he want? Dude, is... I play Shadow Lord. Okay, hold on. Oh, for fuck's sakes, I remember this song. Hold on. I remember the song. What are you gonna hit me with? No, you can't do this. No, it's a quill. That just can't be happening. What the fuck? How does he know Klein is here? How does he know? Who is this man? Is he a god? Is he the true creator? A quill that was being held came to a pause and stopped writing. In the open notebook beneath it, there were lines of text and marks of scribbled out text. Scribbles. Target attempted to escape control, but unfortunately, Detective Sherlock Moriarty leaves before she heads downtown. The target influenced the surrounding maids, but Prince Edisac's butler, Funkel, chanced upon the problem and dealt with it. Oh no, what is happening? The target went off track again. She participated in Talam's funeral on behalf of the prince. However, having quickly recovered to her normal state, she realized that she was unable to identify Sherlock and could only let a chance slip. Sherlock went to the Red Rose Manor to investigate, but the timing wasn't right, and the target happened to be riding horses. Who is he? I'm so confused. Am I in Songwill? Is everyone? I'm so confused. I know nothing. The target once again triumphed over the arrangement, encouraging Prince Edisac to visit the detective. Unfortunately, the detective happened to have a stomachache and ended up staying in the bathroom for 7 minutes and 45 seconds, and the prince couldn't afford to wait. His facial features were like a sculpture, but the middle-aged man, who was blinded in one eye, put down his quill and looked at a woman. What exactly did you put on her body? Breaking through the restrictions time and time again will create big problems. The woman laughed in a low voice and said, "It was just an accident. Don't worry, there won't be any problems." As she spoke, she pulled back her hair, revealing her long white neck. After that, she slowly applied various things to her face, making her look even more alluring. Is this Trissy? Who is this? Seeing that she was putting on her clothes and accessories, the dark golden-haired middle-aged man frowned and asked, "Where are you going?" The woman didn't directly answer and said with a smile, "Be careful of the quill in your hand. You almost exchanged bodies with someone last time." What? Who exchanged bodies? What is happening? I'm so confused. "You don't need to remind me," the middle-aged man with the deep blue eyes, to the point of being black, said with a straight face. The woman tightened her belt to make herself look thinner. Then she lazily stretched and yawned while covering her mouth. "I'm gonna pay a visit to Mr. Ray of the Aurora Order. I hope he's as crazy as the rumors say." As she spoke, the expression of the blind middle-aged man suddenly sank in. It was because that ordinary quill had begun to write its own, as though an invisible hand was holding on to it. I don't understand. What am I reading? I'm so confused. I thought I was starting to get a good bearing on this piece of shit. I don't understand anything. Oh no, we're so cooked. Oh no. Oh god, tomorrow's gonna be a long day. It writes on its own. First option was 357, the second was 359. Okay. What was 357? What happened on 357? What was that one? Yeah, that's fine. What happened on 457? Huh? I'm so confused. I don't know. What's happening? I don't know. Just the Jack stuff? Oh, the time loop thing. Okay. What the fuck? Okay. Stalling, that's what's happening. Okay, we're gonna... Sorry, there's not much art to see. The faceless, this is cool as fuck. Everyone decides you to... Sorry, hold on, what? Everyone decides you to read the quill chapter. Oh, cool. Sequence 6. Oh, that is cool as fuck. All the squiggly lines on his face or whatever. Who? Oh god. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We're gonna leave it there, guys. Holy fuck. I will see you guys in the morning. My morning. I will message you for the time. It should be in like 9 hours, give or take. But I'll give you guys a heads up. If you're not in the Discord, please join. Except for username, because he's fucking username, I guess. I don't know. Oh, I mentioned it before. I'll say it again. I will not see you in the morning, probs. All right, no worries, devil. If you guys are interested, the memberships for the channel are live. I don't know. Think about joining. Dude, I gotta go to bed. I don't know what the fuck I just read. I need time, okay? I need time to think about what I said. Yeah, Ramiro, whatever. We'll figure out the number, okay? I figure it's gonna be a longer one. It's fine. I don't know. Yeah. We'll figure out the number tomorrow morning. I don't know. All right. Good night, guys. Or have a great rest of your day. I don't fucking know, dude. I have to go to bed. I need time to consider what the fuck I read. I don't know. All right, that's it. See you guys. What I'm so fucked up. I don't know what the fuck I just read. Yeah. All right, love you guys.